This will undeniably be the most valuable video that you've ever watched on the entire internet to help you sign high-ticket agency clients. It doesn't matter whether you sell AI services, ads in AI like my business, lead gen, or any other high-ticket service. This information alone has allowed me to sign over 50 high-ticket clients in the last 2 years and go from a broke car wash employee making minimum wage at 17 to making multi-six figures at 19, where I was able to move to Dubai, Europe, and travel all over the world, which is crazy to even say. But not only me, this exact information has allowed tons of other people to scale to $10, $20, or even $30,000 a month as well within their own agencies. All of these guys have gotten this crazy result because they've understood one thing: how to take a stranger and turn them into a high ticket paying customer. And once again, I don't care whether you sell ads in AI like my business, or lead gen, or coaching, or consulting, or info, or AI web design, or marketing, or AI chatbots, or whatever you sell. It doesn't matter at all. This video is an all-encompassing guide to getting high-ticket clients with what is working right now in 2026. And the truth is that I shouldn't be here. The only reason why I'm here is because of the information that I know. I was never special. I was never the smartest kid in school. I even dropped out. I just found a way to make it work because I had the right information. This video is the right information, and I'm giving you everything today. I just ask of you two things. If you find this video valuable in any way, shape, or form, share this with other people that you know that need high-ticket clients. And once again, if you find it valuable, leave a like, subscribe, comment for more helpful online business videos just like this one. And trust me, I know from experience how hard it is in the beginning, how starting is by far the hardest part. Once you have a little bit of momentum, everything is so much easier. Just please understand that an imperfect action is the cure to all of your problems. Okay, you don't need to know the next 100 steps in front of you. All you need to know is the right one in front of your face. That is the key. One step forward, always, and everything will become clear. Hopefully for you, this video is that one step forward. So without further ado, let's get into the client acquisition overview. Most people will go through their lives believing that life just seems to happen to them. They believe that success is luck or a fluke, and they think that the future in their entire life is out of their control, and that they're just floating through space and time, just waiting for life to happen to them. The problem is, after a decade or two, they look around and be like, wait, shit, I really don't want this to be my life. How did I get here? Oh, it must have been predetermined. And you must understand, before you can understand anything about client acquisition, before I show you the winning scripts and the winning systems and everything that I've learned myself to sign over 50 high-ticket clients in the last 2 years, you need to understand that everything in the universe is governed entirely by cause and effect. For every effect, there must be a cause. And what this means is that your goal, which I'm assuming is building a successful online business, with more clients than you can seem to fulfill for, and that is an effect. Right? And if your goal or dream is achievable within the laws of nature and physics, like it's literally, there's no law of physics that says Owen Rensland cannot achieve a certain amount of income, right? Then there is a cause. And not only that, there are multiple causes for it, right? And they're all within your control. This video and all of its however many hours of glory will be that cause and show you how to get high ticket clients. So if you want to get to 5K a month, 10K a month, 20K a month, 30K a month, or even 100, this video will help you understand everything that I've learned about signing high ticket clients, regardless of what you actually sell. The skill here is taking a random stranger, booking a call with him, getting on the call, closing that stranger, turning him to a high ticket, high paying client. And from there, you can go fulfill in all the ways that you need to. Now, I'm not going to lie. This video will probably trump 99% of paid courses that people will charge tens of thousands of dollars for, and this is free. So if you don't like this video, then you can send a refund request to my email for the free video. But before we understand client acquisition and everything you need to go from 0 to 1, we first need to figure out what your offer is going to be, right? Some basic stuff. Now, the unfortunate thing about business, and this is something that I've kind of learned over the past 2 years about, especially helping a ton of people get into this space, scale up to 10, 20, 30, whatever, however many $1,000s a month, is that in the beginning, you just have to copy and paste everything. Okay, everything that's working, you just copy and paste. That's exactly what I did. You don't have enough experience to think for yourself and create a compelling offer and, have these winning client acquisition systems and build them from scratch. You just don't have enough experience to do that. Now, it's no worries because I didn't either, right? So what I'm allowing you to do in this video is just copy mine. Just copy my offers, copy my systems. Because the easiest way, you can quite literally copy your way to 10K a month. You can copy your way to 30K a month even, right? There's so much space in the market for you. There's so many businesses. There's so many companies that need help. There's so many companies that just don't know how to implement ads or AI or social media and do all this stuff and take advantage of it to grow their businesses because they've just done what they've done for so long. They rely on word of mouth and all these other things, but they actually don't know how to sustainably scale their business with social media. And luckily for you, people like me and other people that I've helped have figured this out. So you can just copy and paste it and take advantage of it. So an offer is the goods or services that you agree to provide, how you accept payment, and the terms of the agreement. Now, in business, there are three main aspects to your success. And this goes to just overall gaining clients, gaining revenue, all that good stuff. Market, offer strength, and persuasion. And before I lose you here, at any point eventually, if you are having a hard time in signing clients, you need to ask yourself, is it either the sales, it's the offer, or it's the market? Those are the three variables, right? So if you aren't yet where you want to be yet, if you aren't yet at the revenue point that you want to be at, then it is because of one of these levers. And now what's helpful about this is you can kind of analyze why you're not where you want to be. Because don't be mistaken, 9 out of 10, it's not your market, okay? Like almost 100% of the time, I can guarantee you it's not because of your market, okay? All of these industries that we typically work in, whether it's home improvement, whether it's medical, like whatever it is, software, tech, like it doesn't matter. All of these industries are all growing. They are all great. The market is not the problem. Unless you're in like a dying industry like the newspaper industry, you are good, right? But I want to quickly explain to you the power of your offer before I just literally throw you my offers to copy and paste. And also, I just want to mention that throughout this video, we are going to be extremely in-depth, show you tons of systems. I'm going to literally break down a call exactly why it closed. I don't even know if I've ever done that on this channel, as well as towards the end of this video, I'll kind of give you a pointer or two about like getting that 10K a month, 20K a month, and also how to fulfill as well. I'm going to break down all that stuff towards the end of the video and give you the resources that you need and videos you need to watch in order to actually build a successful service like I've done as well. So let me quickly explain how this lever system works here. Now, the power of your offer is this. If you have a normal market, like everyone else usually, with home improvement, medical, whatever it is, and a normal offer, for you to be able to succeed, it's going to take you to be good at sales. Okay? You have to be exceptionally good at sales to sell a normal offer in a normal market, right? If you have a great market, right, an insane market, and a good example for this is like, let's say you're a chicken shop outside of a college bar at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. with kids that are just coming out of the clubs or the bars or whatever, they're hungry, they want chicken. It doesn't matter what offer you have and what sales you have, you are going to sell out, right? And that is an example of a great market, a bad offer, and bad sales. You could still succeed. Another example is having a normal market, a good offer, and being bad at sales. This is the case that we want to be in, right? Because in the beginning, unless you have tons of sales experience, which most people don't, luckily I did when I got into this because I used to do door-to-door sales, save that story for another video, but basically most of us are in a normal market, okay? And that's true, that's fine. But if we can actually leverage ourselves to get a better offer, we can couple that with learning better and better sales abilities, and we will succeed times like 5. Right? And the only reason why that happens is because we have a good offer in a normal market, like everyone else, but we're improving at sales. And once we become good at sales, then we'll be good at sales, have a good offer, have a normal market, and we will succeed that much more, right? Your skills aren't incredibly developed yet in the beginning, and that's just the case with everyone. But if you have a good offer, you can make up for this and scale faster and sooner and make more money faster. So here are some working offers for you to copy and paste. This depends on what you sell and what you do, obviously. But for my business, if you want to just copy and paste it, I basically help established roofers, generate them leads, and book them in ready-to-buy inspections, all done for you, and they only pay me $50 per lead and cover ad spend. I'll guarantee them 6 jobs the first month, or they get their next month free. Right, this is a very, very good offer because they're paying directly for results. They're just covering ad spend. And ultimately, the risk reversal is so that they don't actually, if they're unhappy, they just could, the next month free. So that is how this works. These are just winning offers. There's 4 really good offers here. What I typically do is basically run ads and use AI systems to turn those leads and, booked appointments into jobs for home improvement businesses. That's what I do, and that's what service I provide. But it doesn't matter, again, what kind of service you offer. The point is that you need to have a very good offer, which usually consists of an outcome, some kind of pay-per-result offer, ideally to basically, minimize risk on their end, and also have some kind of risk reversal as well. If we don't do X, Y, they get, you work for free until they do, basically. So these are some good copy and paste offers. I wouldn't try to go ahead and construct your own crazy offer. I would just copy and paste one that you already know is working from your competitors or from me, for example. And if you aren't sure what offer to use with the niche you've chosen, obviously this is very dependent on what you're actually doing for these guys. Here's a way to just figure out what's working. You can always go to the Facebook ads library just like this right here and look up a certain niche. So for example, I can do roofing marketing, just like that. And then basically find ads that have been running for a decent amount of time. So I can go from 2019 to a couple months ago and apply and find basically companies that are running ads to find roofers. And some of them will actually, list and actually explain, especially in these videos and landing pages, will explain their upfront offer, right? And then we can kind of get an idea about what we should kind of be targeting based on what other people have been doing. And the reason why we do this is because we can basically see ads that have been running for a long period of time. Chances are if the ads have been running for 5 or 6 months at least, we know that they're working ads and they're winning. So then they're proven offers, right? Then we can just copy and paste, iterate, and actually use it to build our own offer. And before you know it, you have a winning offer and you could start going into the marketplace with that winning offer. Now, this is by far the biggest and most important part of this entire process. I don't care whether you do cold approaches in person to get clients or cold SMS or cold calls or cold emails or paid ads or literally doesn't matter. It does not matter. But the most important thing out of all of this is systems. And everyone doesn't understand the importance of this and can never scale because they don't understand this. You need to understand that all of your business and every step of the way is just an amalgamation of systems. The skill of systems thinking will guarantee predictability in our business and allow you to actually scale and get what you want. Now, in the beginning, we talked about cause and effect, right? This is how to understand that. So here is a system. A system is an input, process, output with feedback, all in an environment. Please memorize this. Memorize this. This will make you the most money out of anything probably you've ever made money off of in your life. So all a system is a group of processes that work together to achieve a certain output, which will inevitably achieve a certain outcome. So they consist of an input, which is the materials you put in, what converts the materials into an end result, the output, which is the end result, and then the feedback, which is, which tells you how to improve the input and process to get a better output. And obviously the environment and business would be the market or where the system resides in. So I want you to understand also is that a system is predictability. It's not an automation. It's not an intention. It's a function. And what that means is that you might intend to sign hundreds of clients with this client acquisition system, but you might make the function of the system, designing it, your scripts, your copy, the way you actually do the outbound, that function might not be designed to get you that result. So just because the intention is to sign hundreds of clients does not mean that you will actually sign hundreds of clients, right? You can have the best design system apparently with the intention of, getting X result, but because the system is designed in a certain way, you might never actually get that outcome. And that's the importance of copy and pasting what's already working right now in the market, which is what I'm going to be showing you later on in this video. So system function, making a bad steak, intention, making a perfect steak. Now, this is a really fun example I like to bring up to all of my students and everyone else that learned from me. And it's that if you have a cheap cut of steak, your basic ingredients with salt, pepper, and butter, and you have a step-by-step process and a recipe to cook the steak, output, you'll get a decent steak. Nothing crazy, but you won't get a perfect steak, right? It might be undercooked. It might taste or smell a little too salty. Maybe the recipe instructions were a little outdated or whatever it is, right? And while we intended to have the perfect steak, the function of the system was designed to make a decent steak. And hang in with me here because I know that this doesn't really apply to signing clients. You're like, Owen, what the fuck is this? I want to learn how to sign clients. It's you have to understand why systems are so important. Because if you build a client acquisition system with the wrong processes, just because your intention is to sign tons of clients, scale to 10, 20, 30, or 40K a month, it doesn't matter. It won't matter if the function of your system is not designed to do so. And some hypothetical situations for this is let's say you have a bad cut of steak, right? Super thin, super cheap steak. No matter what you do, it will never be a perfect steak. The same thing is if you have a bad recipe and a bad process, you don't know how to cook it, but you have a A5 Japanese Wagyu, an expensive ass steak, it's you won't get a perfect steak. these two parts of the system, the input and the process, which in your case would be the leads and the way that you convert those leads into the next step, right? These two steps in the process are extremely important for that reason. It's very crucial that you really focus on getting the best input and process possible in order to get the actual output you want. And I will show you exactly what I mean when I show you an actual client acquisition system, which is this right here. Basically, all we have to do is have have a specific niche or people in a niche, right? And use subsystems. So basically this system, but on a smaller scale linked together. And I'll show you what that means as well. Little glimpses. It looks something like this right here. And basically from there, that will turn those people in the niche into a paying client. And then with metrics, we can actually improve how we reach out to the people in the niche and the subsystems required to get more of that output. This is the power of systems thinking. And this is also the only way to guarantee predictability with assigning clients. If you don't have a dialed in system that is defined by metrics, you are building a business off of luck. And you cannot do that because it won't work over a long period of time. If you want the best chance of succeeding, then you have to build a winning client acquisition system that you can measure through metrics to improve the system constantly. Otherwise, it'll die. In my opinion, there's no such thing as staying stagnant with the change of the market. Like, it'll either go down or go up, right? That's just how it works. And so you have to always work to improve the inputs, the process, ultimately just to get the more of the output, right? It's the only way we can guarantee cause and effect and actually make sure you succeed from watching this video. So inputs, again, raw materials, what you put in is what you get out, right? So if you put in terrible leads, if you put in landline numbers into a cold SMS system, you won't get anything, right? So the input is extremely important because you could have the best processes in the entire world, the best ad copy, the best scripts, the best everything. But if you have garbage leads, no matter what you put in, you will never get any clients out of it, right? You will never get anything other than the function of the system. Even with the best pizza chef in the world, bad ingredients will guarantee the pizza sucks. Even with the best cold SMS method, using saturated leads that have gotten hundreds of cold SMS messages will guarantee that you never get clients from it. So please don't blame, and this is the big point for all of this, and if you understand cause and effect, you'll understand this, is that do not blame your own shortcomings on the inputs of the system. For example, sometimes salespeople will just constantly remove themselves from responsibility by blaming the prospects for not being good prospects or not being a good fit because they couldn't close them. And the truth is that yes, maybe that is the case to an extent, but the truth is you might just not be as good at sales as you think. So keep that in mind and don't blame the entire output in the system solely based on the input. But obviously it does have an effect. So processes, right? Processes are the chain of actions. Now this is where it gets crazy because you can see the step-by-step actions required to get a paid client, to go from a complete random lead, a random person, a random business owner, turning them all the way from start to finish into a closed paying client. This is how systems work, right? And this is a good example with cold calling, right? Take a lead list, put it through Clear Out Phone, get better leads, call those leads, get them to pick up, use a script, pitch them, prime them, book the appointment, get them to show up, get them to watch pre-call via sales process, set frame, sales process, and there you go, you have a closed client. This is just one singular example. I'm going to show you 4 or 5 different systems in this video, but if you zoom in, you can see that most of these subsystems go through multiple macro systems. A macro system just like this. This is a bigger system to get one client, right? But it consists of all these micro ones. So this is how it works, and this is how you need to think of client acquisition from now on. Remove predictability, remove this luck and these guesses. There's no guesses. It's literally just a well-designed or bad designed system. There's no luck, right? And feedback is really important as well. Obviously, what the output is, but feedback is extremely important, right? Healthy systems have a solid source of feedback. If you don't have feedback from your system, whatever it is, chances are it's not a good system. So this is measuring exactly what you get from what you've done. So a good example is from this cold calling system right here, basically you will have an ABR, right? Let's say you book 12 appointments from 300 calls. And we can measure that feedback against a typical KPI or key performance indicator for cold calling, which could be 5%. So you should have booked, 13 or 14 appointments from 300 calls, but you only booked 12, right? So we can basically look to improve the inputs and processes based on that feedback that we've gotten from the system, and there improve the process, like the lock and key method, and basically improve the output and get more appointments, right? That is how you have to think of systems and use metrics to actually make these decisions. If you see from most of these, from this one, you'll have pickup rate, resonation rate, pitch rate, appointment booking rate, show up rate, disqualification rate, conversion rate. Every single step of the system has a metric associated with it. Even fucking removing landline numbers, like that is feedback, right? So it's very important. Environment, super simple. It's just where it presides, the market, super simple. So this is a client acquisition system that uses cold SMS, right? This is a system that I used in the past to literally go from 0 to around 10K a month. Well, no, like 30. And it was literally just because of this system alone. Now, at this stage, the only thing that matters, and you need to understand this, by watching this video, if you are watching this video, the only thing that is high leverage for you to do right now, book appointments, close deals. That is it. If you do that every day, you will win. That is all you need to focus on, because to sign more closed deals, you need more sales calls. To get more sales calls, you need to book more appointments. Okay, truly. Do not get distracted by websites and designs and offerings and all this bullshit. Literally, book appointments and close deals. That's it. There are thousands of potential client acquisition systems that you can use to get high ticket clients, right? But the most important thing is getting some kind of system in KPI so then you can scale it. Because like we explained earlier, like if our ABR for cold calling or cold SMS or whatever it is like 4 or 5%, that's in KPI. And we can literally just increase the volume and get a ton of appointments and scale. That's it. All that this stuff looks like as a macro overview for you watching this is building a system for client acquisition, analyzing your outcome based on, your system, seeing with the feedback how it does, and basically changing the inputs and processes required to improve the output for each part of the step. You can think about it like a funnel or like a water pipe going through these steps. At certain points, there's going to be blockages with less water that goes. And if you can fix that blockage by changing the input and process, then you can clear that up and have more output flow to the end, right? That's how this works. So all you have to do, doesn't matter whether it's cold calling, cold SMS, cold email, like LinkedIn DMs, Instagram DMs, Facebook DMs, it literally doesn't matter what system you use. As long as you can get it into KPI and scale it, you win. So a good example of this is let's say you start doing cold email with Instantly, you achieve an ABR or appointment booking rate of 1.5%, meaning every 100 emails you send, you book 1.5 of them. All you have to do is scale that system up, send thousands of emails a day. There you go. You have 10 appointments a day and you could sign tons of clients. Now, I want to show you the only way you can literally guarantee success with client acquisition. Mastering client acquisition is all about this next step. So let me show you exactly how to guarantee success. Literally the only way that I know, based on experience, to guarantee that you succeed with signing clients. How to guarantee success. Now, this is an in-depth overview. It's short, but it's in-depth of the best possible ways to spend your time in the beginning, going from 0 to 20K a month. Okay, the highest leverage thing that you can possibly do with your time right now is sell. Spend all of your time selling. Do not focus all your energy on your product and learning mindset skills and all this bullshit. Literally just sell. Sell, 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 sell. This is exactly what I did to go from 0 to having my first $20,000 month. All I did was wake up, start outbound, and the entire day, literally from 8 to 6 p.m., 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. is set appointments and close appointments. That's it. Afterwards, after dinner, maybe some fulfillment, maybe some product. But ultimately, if you don't have clients, you can't even use your product. You don't know how to improve your product because you don't have feedback. Think about the systems thinking. It's like your product and your service that you're providing is also a system. And without proper feedback, you don't know how to improve your processes. And how can you get proper feedback without clients? You can't. So you have to get clients. This is exactly what my day would look like every day. Obviously, I got a closer, so it was less busy like this, but this is the highest possible leverage day that you can do. This is it. Set appointments, close appointments. I hope this is a bit of a shift for you, like a mental paradigm kind of reality shift, and you're like, holy shit, this is all it takes. This is it. If you do this for like 90 to 180 days straight, like you win. You will be where I am right now. That is literally it. So that's also one thing I do want to bring about as well, is that the 90 days all in, all out. I want you to understand that like it takes around 90 to 120-ish days to solidify a solid change in your identity, to change who you are. And these next 90 days are critical to your success and will truly determine whether or not you make it in general as an entrepreneur, because like these are very make or break moments. Because like right now, you are at an emotional height with this business. I mean, you're watching this video, you're motivated, you know what you want, you know where you need to go, you know what you need to do after watching this. And if you can't be consistent now, if you can't put in these inputs daily now, because like you are in a deep, deep trouble, because like you are at such an emotionally high moment right now, right? It's really now or never. Like that is really it. Because for the next 90 days, like things will get harder. It will get harder than it is right now, than it feels right now. And for the next 90 days, I want you to just lock the fuck in as much as possible, filling out this sheet every single day. Now, if you want the resources that are shown in this video, they're in the description. There's a simple page. You can go ahead and fill your information, and then it should show up in your inbox or your spam, just like that. I can actually show you what that page looks like. But just like this page right here, it's right under this video. There's testimonials of people I've helped. But basically, you can just fill out your information in here and get this free resource. It'll basically send you this document right here, and then you can just click on the document that we're on, which right now is 2, to get this resource by going to 2 right here. You can scroll down to the bottom of this video and get this 90-day attack plan just like that. So that's how to get the resource. I appreciate you guys for, enjoying these videos and staying around. But I want you to understand that this is now or never. Right? There's just go all in. There's no, don't relent. Don't, every single day you have to do this. You have to do whatever outbound you can, set appointments and close appointments every single day. I don't care how you feel or how bad it gets. Like if you keep doing this work and powering through for at least 90 to 120 days, you will get your first client. You will scale to 10K a month and you will end up getting this outcome. That is the reason why people don't do this, is because they can't stick to this for a long enough time. So with this 90-day attack plan, you can literally just for 90 days straight, check out how much outreach you've done. And obviously we are going to build a client acquisition system in this video, so you'll know like what to actually do for this outreach. More often than not, it'll be either cold email or cold SMS, cold DMs or something. And if you do these outbound every single day for an entire 90 to 120 days, you'll do it. You'll do it. You'll get the output. Like you'll actually get the outcome. So I'm just speaking from experience because that's what I did, right? So yeah, that's how to essentially guarantee success. And now let's move on to actually building out a cold outbound system. We've understood systems now up to this point, but I want to actually show you what one of my systems look like, how to use it, and more importantly, show you some options as well. Cold client acquisition systems. Now we are going to go over around 4 systems here. Now, depending on your experience, depending on your budget, this is kind of going to run you through the different options. Now, the first one right here is the cold calling system. Now, this requires a very low budget and is not very scalable at all because you have to manually cold call. Not easy. Now, difficulty is high because of that. So, system overview. Basically, you will go through and generate leads. Just to kind of simplify this with you, a little bit of overview is just scrape leads, use clear out phone to remove landline numbers, import leads into GoHighLevel, call leads with this script, book appointments, use the sales framework on the meetings, and collect payment on the call. This is a super simple system and a really good one that I recommend to complete beginners to even just learn the fundamentals of how to sell, especially the people that are starting with lower budget. Now, to do this, you basically scrape leads, and I do have a document here called Fuel for the Fire that you can use, which basically has tons of different methods on how to scrape leads and every single detailed method, right? How to get thousands fast by just buying them off of Fiverr for a couple bucks, using Make.com or Appify to generate thousands of leads, the BB code scraper, the instant data scraper. Like there's so many different ways, even how to get owners' names. If you want any of these resources, you can get the description or go to the description, get this document and open it up. And now you should have thousands of leads to contact. Basically from there, you want to use clearoutphone.io, sign up, purchase some credits, and then you can get thousands of leads, basically import them, and then basically remove all of the fixed line numbers remove all the landline numbers. Because chances are, if they're landline numbers, usually there's going to be a receptionist or a gatekeeper, and you can basically just remove all of them and only contact the people that have phone numbers, their personal cell phone. So that is how you can go ahead and safely contact these guys. Then you can go ahead and import these leads into GoHighLevel, or if you don't have GoHighLevel, don't have the budget for it, you can just call normally. So you can literally just use your phone and just call. That's what I used to do in the absolute beginning a couple years ago. Brings me back a lot of memories thinking about that. But yeah, you want to just go to contacts. If you want to import and GoHighLevel, import the contact list, create contacts out of the leads, and then just simply match the columns if there are them, and then basically call them with a GoHighLevel number, which you don't need to be HTTP verified for. Call leads with this script. So I have a simple cold calling script right here. Hey, is this prospect name? Look, I'm probably going to the 100th cold call you've gotten today. You can hang up, but if you got like 2 minutes, I can pinky promise you never heard anything like this before. How does that sound? Simple hook, simple cold call script. Like, I actually don't recommend cold calling because it's just unnecessarily hard and not scalable. It's so much better to save up a little bit of cash some way, whether you have a job, whether you have whatever it is, and go straight into something like cold email, cold SMS, or paid ads, right? Cold calling is just so low leverage that like it takes so much mental resistance as well, cold calling hundreds of people a day. And because of the state of the market, like the amount of input that you get for the output, there is no leverage, like at all. There used to be more, especially when it was easier to book appointments, when these guys were getting less cold calls. But because of the thousands of people that are all doing some kind of online business, depending on what they're offering, like it's hard. So yeah, but you basically would call with this lead, with this script right here. And here's a short but powerful masterclass on setting appointments. I'm going to go ahead and play this in a second after we're going and done through this process. So after this, once you call them with the script, you can go ahead and book the appointments, and that's the system. Super simple system. And yeah, let's go ahead and go through a short but powerful masterclass on setting appointments.
So this is basically the entire video for setting and booking appointments. Now, as an agency owner, this is going to be something that you're going to be doing very, very often. If you're an agency owner or an online business owner, coach, consultant, whatever it is, you're going to be needing to be booking appointments. Now, in the Appointment Accelerator, you will see a bunch of appointment booking systems that you can try and use. Now, I will say this is kind of just covering the general flow of setting, but this is extremely, extremely important, okay? This section is, honestly, this video is probably one of the most important in this entire school group. And the reason why I say that is because like setting determines your show rate, it determines your appointment flow, it determines the sales calls you get, it determines pretty much everything. And 90% of the agency owner's job in the beginning is setting appointments because they're the fuel for your business. So you have to learn to master the ability to set appointments and do outreach. Now, you're probably saying right now, Owen, I'm just going to outsource it. It doesn't matter. You could not be more wrong. If you want to build a successful team or even just ramp up one appointment setter, you have to know the ins and outs of setting so you can properly do so. So I was going to say, if you think you can outsource your 30K a month, think again. So this applies to cold calling, cold SMS calling, DM setting, paid ad confirmation calls or triages, organic inbound, etc. And what most people do is avoid setting appointments. They avoid doing outreach. They avoid trying to become a great setter, but it's the most natural step towards being a good closer. Like for some of the agency owners that I know that are stuck and they can't sign one client, I tell them, like, why don't you go apply to be a setter at a company and earn a little bit of money so you can just put it towards stuff for the agency, whether it's stuff like this program or stuff like GoHighLevel, and then basically start your agency once you have more experience setting. Now, what does setting affect? Setting appointments is the life of your business, okay? You need appointments to grow the business. The second you stop getting appointments is the second your business starts dying. Because in my opinion, like nothing is ever, staying stagnant. It's either growing or it's either dying. Now, second of all, if the goal is to close appointments, they need to show, and I want you to remember that the difference between a good show rate and a bad show rate is the ability of a setter. And the reason why I know this is because I've had one guy in the same niche as Brandon, which is my sales manager that does all the sales coaching and agency link. He sent cold SMS for remodeling for a few weeks just to kind of see what his show rate was, see how the appointment flow was. And I had one of the guys in my program that's in remodeling do the same exact test as him. The guy in my program had a 30% show rate. Brandon had a 79% show rate. And they had the exact same automations and the exact same stuff. And the only difference between the two of them was just having more skills as a setter, because Brandon worked as a setter for a long period of time before he became a closer and a sales manager. And people misunderstand their show rate bottleneck. They think it's because of reminders or because of like all this stuff that they don't know how to join the meeting, but it's actually just typically how the appointment was set, how you conveyed the value and how they actually like perceived your service and your offer. But I wanted to just cause a bit of a paradigm shift. the goal of an outbound message or an attempt at booking someone is not to get their name on your calendar and for them to say yes. It's actually to help them through your services. Okay? And this might seem like obvious, but when people do outbound or they set appointments or they cold call or whatever it is, they have the total wrong intention. Their intention is, let me get a yes, let me get a slot on the calendar. When you have that attention, when you set intention, like your show rate suffers so much. And this might have worked in 2015, just booking these appointments, getting them to show up. But because today in the current state of the market, we have to use special tactics and knowledge that I have for you to actually make them want to show up. Because otherwise they're not going to show up. And your show rate's going to be like 20-30%. And with that show rate, there's no way you can get what you want. Like Hormozy says the show rate was like 89%. So I will say there's been a shift for business owners recently. And instead of hanging up on cold calls and cold SMS calls or whatever, triage calls, instead of cursing out the cold callers and giving them time, because there's so many people cold calling all the businesses, they mindlessly just say yes and give the setter an appointment, but just don't show. And the reason why this happens is because it's super easy to say no, or say yes then no. And the guys are like, oh yeah, I'll just give you my email, just book me in, they say. And then they book you in, and then they never show up, right? So in the appointment booking module, whether you decide to use cold calling, cold SMS, or whatever it is, it's crucial that you understand that the people that skip directly to closing or outsourcing setting without spending significant time, setting appointments themselves and learning the ropes are typically much worse off. So let's go over the identity of a setter. So as a world-class setter, you don't read a script. You also don't just set appointments. You are the first experience that someone has with your brand and company. Okay, and as a great setter, you sort the leads, you focus on leads that could be a good fit, and you don't beg for calendar slots, but you award them. These set calls, whether it's a cold call or cold SMS call or triage, they must feel like a warm hug and an invitation to the next step. And your state and how you show up on these calls based on, the 4 type of communication calibrates how, or even if the prospect wants to show up in the first place. So you have to make a conscious shift and constantly tell yourself that you take set calls frequently and that you are the best there is at setting. Remember this from the mindset module. You should. This is how you become great at setting. Now, intention. So intention is everything with setting and closing calls. People can feel and sense your intention through every aspect of the call. So on a setting call specifically, you must have the intention, I'm simply going to determine whether the prospect needs my agency's help and if they have the necessary time, budget, and resources to benefit from my services. Okay, if you have any other intention, then your show rate will suffer. If your intention is, I just want to book them in, I just want to get the call on the calendar, then they won't show up to the call. And I know this sounds kind of crazy and woo-woo, but it's true. The intention shows through everything. It shows through how you talk. It shows like how you introduce yourself, how you introduce your company, your confidence level, your tone. Because I don't know if you guys remember, but in the last video, we talked about the different kinds of communication. And the fact that all of this stuff is more important than the words you say, because this is what comes across on a call. Luckily on a cold call or whatever it is, a setting call, there is less body language because they don't see you. And so this stuff, your self-image doesn't show as much, but it honestly does. You have to have that confidence in yourself, that confidence in that you know what you're doing, and that tonality and how you talk. It's super, super important. Now, I will say, if you have true intentions, everything will work. You'll get good sales, you'll get good appointments, you'll get good show rate, all your metrics will be flying colors and they'll be super good. And another thing is to assume the sale. So internally operate on the belief and the assumption that they are going to move forward with you and that unless they're disqualified, they will benefit from your services. Because I think a lot of people get psyched out today because they don't have a lot of fulfillment experience or clients and get entrapped in the belief that they can't even help the business owner in the first place. But when you have this belief, no matter what you do, you won't succeed. So you need to assume the sale, assume that you can help them if they're not disqualified, and the dynamic on the call will be less like, you're reaching out to me because you need me as a client, not because I need your services. That's what they'll say, that's what they'll think. But when you assume the sale and you assume that you can help them, that is when things will flip and you'll have that frame control, right? Because frame control is everything on a set call. You need to have the frame, you need to be the one asking the questions, the one controlling the conversations, because that's just how it needs to work, because they're buying from you, you're not buying from them. Now, if you want to be seen as a premium service, then assume the sale and just assume that the prospect needs your services, but that you don't need them as a client, okay? That is the mindset and mentality you need to have going into these calls because it will give you the perception that you are picking and choosing clients instead of begging for permission like most bad setters are. Now, let's go over authority. So authority is extremely important on setting calls, right? The moment you lose authority, the moment you lose frame, you lose. So you need to have strong authority on these setting calls, and it's not being loud and aggressive, being like, yeah, so basically this is how we can help you. No, it's nothing like that. It's more calm, measured, and commanding. You have to be able to interrupt them, redirect their tangents, and you need to make sure that their tangents, they have direction towards the sale. If they don't, you need to interrupt them immediately and hold frame on that call. If you allow them to just talk and go in their tangents, you think you're building up pain, you're not. Okay, you're literally just driving away from the sale. You need that forward emotional momentum and towards the sale. And it's like, if it's going away from it, then, they won't even care. So having that authority comes largely from how you see yourself and how you show up to the call, which is, remember, all from these two things right here. Your intention and your self-image. That's how you have to show up to these calls, and that's what inevitably affects your outcome. Excuse me. So another thing I recommend is detachment. So I've mentioned this in so many modules, but be very detached from the outcomes. So remove projected importance. If you haven't read Reality Transurfing, I would read it. It will talk a lot about projected importance and how you can remove it, but you have to detach yourself from a yes or no, because instead of sitting there praying and hoping for a yes, if you just have more of a curious outsider perspective mindset and just simply look to learn more about their situation and just kind of observe what's going on in their situation, you will be so much more successful. And after every brutal hang-up or before sessions of dialing, I recommend, to help detach yourself, just 3 deep breaths to kind of re-anchor your state, because we talked about state management, I believe, and how you show up to these calls. So like I also mentioned in the previous video, state management is a skill, right? You'll get better at it with time. These calls will start to piss you off a little bit less once you get good at this. It's just a skill and you'll improve at it. Now, the next thing is to drop the script. Just do it. Literally just do it. Delete it. Go in Google Drive, delete your script. Because one of my philosophies for this program is very anti-script when it comes to selling. Scripts do not seem genuine, especially on setting calls and more importantly on closing calls. Now, when you're using a script, you heavily steer the prospect away from booking a call, okay? And more importantly, showing up to the call. If they can tell you're using a script, oh my God, they are not going to show up. And in sales, presence and truth is everything, right? Because you need to basically be a BS detector. You need to be comfortable calling them out and not using the exact wording, because you can't have the same conversation every single time, right? So either use a simple framework or nothing at all, because you'll find emotional cues on the call that you need to explore in order to build out the pain and get it to level 2, like that we talked about in the last video here, to get it to action level 2, where you want to explore different things that they're going through and talking about. And you can't do that if you have a script, because you just have to follow a set list of questions and it'll feel like an interview, right? So that is why this presence and truth is so important, and that you need to drop a script. So another thing is that you need to make sure that you're not going through a list of questions and that it doesn't sound like it is you are most importantly. So pre-framing is a good way you can do this. So let's say you ask a question and then you ask another question directly after they give you a response. You're like, okay, and then you ask another question. Instead of doing that, that's a weak pre-frame. Instead, you could pre-frame the next question and be like, got it. Okay, that makes sense. So given that answer, I'm just kind of curious about this. How does that look? And then you ask the question, right? So it's just about segueing and transitioning from question to question to make it sound more genuine, less like you're going through a list of questions. Now, communication on these setting calls is how you interact on the call. So your tonality is very, very important. You want to use non-open-ended questions. So open-ended questions, what I mean by that is stay away from yes-no questions. Okay, keep them open-ended. Keep them very, would this be use open-ended questions then? I think that's right. Yeah, you want to ask questions with no end. So by saying do you want more work, for example, they'll be like, yes. Don't ask that. It'd be like, how much more work are you looking to get? Basically ask questions that can't just, end instantly, so they give you more and more fuel. Use double commitment questions. These are saying, so are you currently in real estate or are you looking to start? And it's basically asking a question that will both answers to the question will lead to the sale. This is a really good way to open up a setting call. So for example, let's say you have a lead from, a webinar, or you have a lead from paid ads that didn't book in. You could be like, so are you looking to, are you in lead gen? Are you currently using a lead gen service right now? Or are you looking to just get started? And that's a great way to open up a set call, because it's a double commitment question. Both of the answers to the question lead to where you want to go. And another thing, watch out for these red flags. Be a pattern interrupt. So use humor and be different, stand out, because that's honestly the biggest thing with these guys, especially if your niche is anything to do with some kind of contractor. Be a pattern interrupt, use humor, make them laugh, talk about things they like. And and I'll show you an example at the end of this where you can listen to it. So on the actual conversation, what to do in the call, you want to build pain and emotional momentum, dive into the numbers of their business, ask them questions about what's going on, and be heavy on qualification. Okay, they want to basically frame the call as if they are seeing if they're qualified to work with you. And you have to figure out these qualifications and keep them in mind for all of your setting calls. So a reasonable thing to do for a setting call is to have a simple framework ready to go for all of your set calls, whether they're cold calls, cold SMS calls, and include your qualifications on there just to make sure that either you or your team is making sure that they're qualified before you go on a closing call with them. Now, reverse qualification is something I coined that basically means tactical skepticism. So it's the act of acting like they probably aren't qualified, which makes them want to book in even more. So it's all about the tone here. I use this a lot, but if your tone's bad, don't use it. And so a good example is like, so do you even want to grow your business in the first place? Like, we only want to work with growth-minded people. So I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know if we can even help you in the first place. You know what I mean? So do you even want to grow your business? You know, that's a good example of doing it. And the tone there is so important, because if you don't have good tone, do you even want to grow your business in the first place? Like, we only work with growth-minded people, so I don't even know if we can help you. Like, that is a negative tone that will basically you'll probably get told to fuck off. So make sure you take notes on setting calls. So with GoHighLevel notes, it's very, very easy to use. You can take notes about their income, goals, current situation, what type of energy, and pass these along to the closer, or you if you're taking the sales call, and then basically use those notes on the sales call to get past level 1 faster. Right? Because on sales calls, when you open up, you're going to be starting at the surface level and you want to dig down into the level 3. And if you already have some information about them, you can kind of skip more down into the action level 2 and you figure out why and what's going on. So that is another thing there. Now, also is tying down the booking. This is the most important thing about setting by far. So when someone says yes and agrees to a meeting with you, sit down, Google Meet or Zoom, you have to keep them on the phone for another 3 or 5 minutes. You have to tie down the booking. And what that means is get them to press yes on the email. Get them to reply to the auto SMS that you sent them that says yes, that tells them to reply yes, otherwise your booking will be canceled. If you don't have this automation, I really, really recommend it. And get them to reply via SMS as well, get to the call, get them to press yes on the email. Like, you can even get them to add your GoHighLevel number as a contact on their phone. Like, there's a lot of things you can do to tie down the booking. And another thing you could say is, my manager said that he's going to beat my ass if someone doesn't show up, so are you 100% sure you can go? That's another reason here. That's another thing here. So setting call objection handling. So there's a few things that people will say on setting calls. I'm busy right now. I'm with a client right now. I don't need more work. Give me a call back later. What makes you different? I don't have time for an appointment. Here is a recording of me going through every single one of those that you can use and more. I go through 22 of them in this 22-minute video and basically explain how to handle these objections. So other things you can do for setting now, pickup rate optimizing. Now, if you're having trouble getting people to pick up, here are some levers you can use. There's a lot more of these in Agency Link that I have, but here's just a few you can use. So if you're having trouble with getting people to pick up on the phone, use Wave or spam protection for your phone numbers. This is in the Agency Foundations module. Don't triple dial or your number will be burned and show up as spam likely. Then you'll have to buy another number. But the good thing is that ATP stays when you buy a number, so you can just keep buying $2 numbers. Always double dial. Always double dial. Always double dial. Never triple dial. Always double dial. Use SendBlue or LinkBlue or some other app that integrates with GoHighLevel to send Blue text messages. These are like $500 a month, so not terrible. But what's good about that is it will basically prevent you from having these normal green GoHighLevel messages, which will increase delivery rate, response rate, and overall all metrics, especially with cold SMS. Now let's see what we can do to optimize show rate. So if you're having trouble with show rate and getting people to show up to these meetings, there's a few levers you can pull. Once again, there's a lot more in Agency Link, but here's just a few for you guys. So become a better setter. That's the biggest one, because that'll improve your show rate from 30% to 80%. And make sure your email and SMS automations you use don't spam them and deter them away. Make sure there's value and make sure they make sense. Lower the resistance to hop on a call. Make sure they know how to actually hop on the call and you give them clear instructions on the set call. Use Google Meet instead of Zoom to lower the barrier to get on the call because they don't need to download anything. And make sure you have the upgraded workspace for either of these because the 1 hour meeting limit on Google account and Zoom. And make the actual reminders as human as possible because if they think people are texting them saying good to hop on in 43 minutes, especially if you use LinkBlue or SendBlue, they will hop on the call. Another thing is after they book in, have a very solid pre-call VSL. Okay, you're going to want to show this to them through the automations and make sure that they can see a VSL basically explaining the value you have, testimonials, what outcome you expect to get, social proof, all this stuff. You basically can create your pre-call VSL to eradicate and pre-handle all objections and build trust and also improve your show-up rate. Another thing you do is if they said that they didn't like what was in your pre-call VSL, rework it, make it better. And when you book people, you cannot book them out for more than 24 to 40 hours in advance. Okay, this is very important. If you book someone out after 2 days from now, chances are they'll just forget about it. So book them in within 24 to 40 hours to maximize show rate.
So the next cold system is the cold SMS system, right? Requires a very low budget, very scalable, and very easy. This is what I recommend to most people because at the end of the day, all that matters is achieving KPI, because if we achieve KPI, get a good appointment booking rate, then we can literally just scale the system, and there we go. We're good. So all we have to do for this system, a simple overview, is to scrape the leads. Once again, use Clear Out Phone, port the leads into GoHighLevel, send SMS, and add the leads to a cold SMS automation. Call the engaged leads with this script, book appointments, use the sales framework on the meeting, and collect payment on call. So once again, to scrape leads, all you have to do is use this resource or go onto Fiverr and buy a list of leads. Again, same with Clear Out Phone, simply just remove landline numbers just like so. It's extremely, extremely easy. So now you need to import leads into GoHighLevel. Same thing, go to the contact section and literally just add the leads into GoHighLevel. You can match the columns if you have any information about them. But basically, before we actually send SMS, we need to do a couple of things. First of all, you have to import my cold SMS snapshot, which will basically give you the automation that I use to send cold SMS. When you import this sub account, you will go to the automation section. You will actually see right here, this cold SMS folder, and you will see this queue/pitch SMS, and you'll see the exact SMS automation that I use to actually book tons and tons of appointments and book like 3% of all the SMS that I sent. And I've sent like 4,000 just on this account alone. Basically, cold SMS masterclass, if you go ahead and sign up under my link through GoHighLevel, right here by pressing start an extended free trial, which this is all in the description, by the way, this link to this page. Even this video right here will break down what you actually get from signing up for my affiliate link, but it's going to email you a cold SMS masterclass that's an unlisted video on YouTube. And with that video, you can basically use my snapshot and it'll have it in the description of the video, import it, and then from there, you're good to go. Then you can edit the automation to basically change it to your niche. Because obviously right now I believe in the current state that it comes in, it's in roofing. So you can change it because I'm in roofing. And then from there, once you have the correct messaging done, you have the snapshot ready, then you need to get HTTP verified, right? If you want more information on HTTP verification, this is in my 10-hour free course video, which is in the description of this video. It says like watch this next and like copy the business model that's made me X amount. So that right there is a 10-hour video and it goes through HTTP verification in that video. But once these three are all good to go and checked off, we can then proceed to actually sending cold SMS. Even if you aren't HTTP verified quite yet, there's a lot of things you can do in the meantime to prepare. So obviously continue watching. But send SMS, and also there's other systems that you can make that don't include SMS. And I get a lot of questions about like the legalities behind this. If you don't send crazy volume, it doesn't matter. Okay, if you're sending a couple hundred messages a day, like 300 to 500, like you will never see any downside to doing so. Okay, if you're sending 5,000 a day, yes, you might get a fine, because you're doing ridiculous amounts and it's not technically allowed. But how many text messages have you gotten every single day of people doing just that? I get a ton. I'm sure everyone else does. The truth is that's just how the market works, right? Now, to add these leads to the cold SMS automation, you literally just choose the contacts that you imported, press add to automation, and choose add in drip mode, right? And then from there, you can name the action whatever and set it to start in a few minutes from now. Ideally, you would basically do it in the contacts or the leads respective time zone at around 7 or 8 a.m. and send around 7 messages every 5 minutes. That's all you have to do. Super, super simple. You basically go back to workflows, go to contacts, and usually you have smart lists for every day you import. And you choose this day right here, select them all. Let's say you're only sending 30 for some reason. You can press add to automation, choose any name for it, doesn't matter. Workflow, queue/pitch SMS, send in drip mode, send 7 every 5 minutes. Set the start date, which would be like, I don't know, tomorrow at 7 a.m. in the respective time zone. And then you press add automation. That's literally it. Once you're HTTP verified, it'll send the numbers, it'll send the amounts, and also with limits as well. By the way, in the beginning, you actually can't send that many messages. Because of the way limits work, like you'll be able to send 100 the day one, 250 the day two, 500 the next day, 750, 1,000, and then from there you're good to go. But just those first couple of days, you'll only be able to send a certain amount and it'll stop you and like not allow you to send more. It's super easy to do, super easy to set up, and super easy to run. And like I said in the beginning, like the difficulty is extremely low, right? And once that's done, you can basically call these leads with this script. So I have a good script for you to use, just like this. I've used this tons of times. And if you have watched this masterclass that I just showed you, it'll also explain that process as well. So once you do that, you can just simply book appointments with your calendar and you're good to go. You can book tons of appointments and find KPI. And for all of these methods, a good rule of thumb is that like sending 300 is enough data to kind of figure out what your metrics and feedback are. Feedback validity is really important, especially with like regression to the mean and stuff. So like I would wait till you do 300 dials or 300 SMS or 300 emails before you actually know what your appointment booking rate is. And once you know that, then you can scale the system up, right? So there's that. Next is the cold email system. Now, this is a very, very easy system to build out. I'm not even going to explain it. And I also don't have too much experience in cold email, and I don't want to teach you things that I don't have, I haven't firsthand gotten good results from. But basically, you want to just scrape leads like we've done before, use Instantly or some kind of sending software, and go ahead and send emails. It'll warm up your emails. It'll do all the DMARC and registration stuff, and you can basically set out those sequences to make sure that the deliverability is good. And from there, you can book appointments. Similar to the other systems, track your metrics, know what your KPIs are, know what your appointment booking rates should be, by using AI or whatever, figuring that out, and then basically scaling the system up once you are in a favorable condition. Then you can use the same sales framework on the call, which we will actually cover now, and collect payment. But I've succeeded with a bunch of these systems. I've done DMs in the past. I've done some cold emails, some cold looms, but I haven't gotten a ton of results from cold email personally. So that's the reason why I push so heavily on cold SMS and cold calling, because I've gotten the most results hands-on from those. Now we are going to dive into the paid methods now. So let's go ahead and basically go through the paid methods to book a ton of appointments. But keep in mind that all you have to do, find a system that works, fix it until it works well, and then scale the system up, and you have 5 to 10 appointments a day. That's all you got to do. So let's dive into the next part, which I believe is the paid ads. Paid client acquisition systems. Now, right off the bat, if you don't have, some money, if you can't lose $50 a day for the next couple of months, and you don't have $3K at least on hand, and you don't have a sales close rate of at least 15%, and your offer doesn't have you collect at least $1,500 on the call, do not run ads. Okay? Just don't. Just do cold for now. Get us some more money, collect some more cash, get some more clients before you jump into the paid acquisition game. But if you do have these things, fine, and you're comfortable with losing $50 a day, just a general rule of thumb, if you have at least 3K on hand and you are confident in your sales close rate, at least 15 to 20%, and you know that you collect at least $1,500 on the call, then we can go into running paid ads. Now, obviously, the whole ideal method here is like use cold outbound to get you to a point where you can run paid ads, then just run paid ads and stop doing cold outbound. Just at a standpoint of leverage, that just makes the most sense. So, but obviously you do have to pay for these appointments. But basically, to create a winning paid client acquisition system, it consists of a couple of things. Now, first things first, obviously, is just having winning ads on Meta. Then from there is a way to collect those leads with a landing page or a lead form, using a booking page to actually convert those leads that you're, generating to actual booked appointments and sales calls, and using a post-booking page to convert those leads into warm prospects to get them to actually want to show up to the call in the first place. And then from there, having a triage call to, increase your show up rate and actually get more of these guys on the phone, and then collect more cash on the call in the sales portion, which we'll explain in the next part of this video. So as far as winning ads go, you can either use picture ads or video ads, it doesn't matter. But I will say it's extremely easy to scale with picture ads. Okay, like I've got experience running video ads. Literally, I've been on like a roof recording an ad. Maybe I'll just include this so you can watch it right now. But like
roofers,
a video
right now is a perfect time of the year to get a partner for lead generation.
Like I'm standing on a roof.
My team and I will just
but the easiest way by far to make these ads is just to mimic people that are already running ads. So to do so, just find your niche's ads in the library. So what I do is usually look up like roofers, just like that. Change the filter to show ads that have been live for 4 to 6 months. So we can basically do that once this loads. Okay, so once it loads, we can go into filters and basically change this to 2019 from to 5 or 6 months ago from today. And then from there, we can find ads that have been live for a while that are basically generating roofing clients. Roofers, 30 appointments, just $4.99. Let's see here. See if we can find some decent ads. A lot of them are actually just like straight up roofing companies. That's why I chose like to put roofers instead of roofing, for example, just to kind of help. How we sold X amount in roof replacements, video ads, roofers, flat rates, guaranteed shows. So I'm seeing a lot of ads that have been active for a long period of time that just say like a simple offer on like a 500 by 500 image. And this is actually congruent to what I've seen works for me. Just to kind of show you, this is my ultimate winning ad. This ad alone has generated me over $20,000 in revenue. Like this singular ad. And it's super simple. You can make it in 2 seconds. But once you find the winning client acquisition ads for your, for your niche, which I would recommend just doing something similar to this, to be honest, you can just create it by going to Photopea, which is like the free Photoshop basically. And you can basically create a new image, 800 by 800 works. And then from there, watch this, only pay us per roof replacement. I recommend doing a bait and switch offer as well in your ads. It'll just gain a lot more traction. And then you can basically go on the call and say like, we only do, pay per roof replacement if you guys are doing over $5 million a year. And if you're not, then we don't. This is a bait and switch up front. And a lot of people are not really a fan of that. But I've gotten extremely, extremely good results doing so. And it actually makes sense too, because if they actually are doing over 5 million a year, then you might as well do a commission with them, because then you can scale up their ad spend and make a ton more off of them. So that is what I would recommend. Plus we will pre-qualify. Okay, I don't know if I spelled that right because I can't see it, but let's see. Oh, so close. And then that's around that big. I like to use these big blues and stuff because they stand out. So let's go ahead and it's good. Okay. So only pay us per job we get you. But just like that, in like literally 5 minutes, we have a winning ad. I mean, this literally this singular ad has made me over 20K. So like, it's literally this simple, to make winning acquisition ads. Like it literally does not take that much work. It's super, super simple. Just copy what's working already in your market, which in my example for roofing is basically this right here. So let's see if we can find a little bit of a better font. That looks good. Okay. Perfect. Winning ad. Done. File, save, export, launch. So that is how that works. Believe it or not, simple ads like this have always done the best. This is a good example. I mean, this one ad has spent around $5K and had a $28 cost per lead. So there's proof right there. Now, a way to collect leads. So lead forms are the old reliable. You can collect leads with lead forms, or you can do a landing page. I would recommend doing lead forms because like they're so common and they're so familiar, especially in the beginning. Like when you run paid ads for yourself or any company whatsoever, you need to understand that you need to start off with the least amount of friction as possible in the process. So from ad to lead form to collecting the lead info to booking appointment, like all this stuff, start with very little friction. So very little questions and very little, roadblocks between getting them from a lead to the outcome, just to make sure you have a working system. And a good way you can think about this is like, I wonder if I can go up like a draw. Okay, so a good way you can think about this is like a waterfall. Similar to the systems thinking idea. So like when you have a pipe that looks like this, the water starts here and it starts flowing down here at the end. Now the water will keep flowing down, right? But then eventually you are going to hit a roadblock and then less water will flow down. So at the beginning, maybe this much water, like a ton of water was flowing down the pipe, and then now it's much less. And then it's even less. And then it's like almost empty, right? So the idea is when you run any kind of paid ads, you want to basically remove all of the restriction in the beginning. So remove these roadblocks and make sure that you have a solid stream first, and then add friction to get more qualified prospects. That is the typical strategy to running ads. So a good way to do this with lead forms is to basically have simple questions in the beginning and go with them, and then basically from there having a booking page at the end of the lead form. Now, if you go to this resource right here, you can basically open this up and you can even see my winning lead form setup that has gotten me a $29 cost per lead, including conditional logic that basically explains if they don't make a certain amount in revenue, obviously we don't want to work with them, but it'll basically go to a conditional logic question that asks, are you willing to spend X amount a month to meet X amount of qualified homeowners each month? And if the answer is yes, then they continue on the process. If the answer is no, then they are considered a DQ. Now, this is a really, really good system to have set up because it makes it so like you don't automatically DQ people that don't make a lot of money just because they don't make a lot of money, right? Because sometimes people will make, less than you want them to, but, to consider to be a qualified client to work with, but they're hungry, they have money to invest, they want to actually just put it in, they just don't know and don't have the winning systems to do so. So that is a good way to basically make that happening. Then from there, you can basically have the end page be just like this and have it go to a website. And then that link to the website can basically be a booking page that we set up, right? That is linked to a post booking page so they can watch pre-call VSL, get ready for the call. So the landing page will yield the best lead quality in my opinion. And I actually have a winning landing page set up for you in my GoHighLevel agency snapshot. And now if you already have my snapshots, this will, if you go ahead and refresh it and re-update it, you should see a new funnel in there. And that new funnel is my landing page setup that I've used for all of my paid ads. So this will include the, where the survey basically for the lead to convert, as well as after the survey, a booking page as well as a post booking page. So here's exactly what that looks like. So once again, in the agency snapshot, you will see a new funnel called Facebook ads funnel. Now this is a quick little funnel that I've made that is the highest converting funnel of all time. And it's basically a simple offer on the top, simple call out. And then from here, you would have a survey typically with the questions that you want to ask. So you can make a quick GoHighLevel survey by going to surveys, builder, putting it in there just like so, adding some testimonials, and then booking a strategy call, which is the next step in the calendar, which looks exactly like this. This right here is a simple loading page bar to basically say step 2 out of 2, schedule your strategy call. Thanks, the system determined that we don't work with anyone in your area. This is a very smart way of doing it, especially from lead forms. It says step 2 out of 2, book your free strategy call. And then here you basically have a GoHighLevel calendar. And then after that, it'll basically forward it to the post booking page, which looks just like this, which has a call, basically a video to explain, to how to confirm the call, and all optionally as well, like a video about testimonials. More importantly, your pre-call VSL that you need to have in here, because it's very important to have a video like this. Otherwise, it's very hard to actually close clients. So that is the ideal landing page setup, and that is all in the snapshot. That is when you sign up for my, my GoHighLevel account, it'll give you the agency snapshot. And once again, if you already have the agency snapshot, you just re-import it, and you'll see the extra funnel in there. And you could only specifically just import that funnel. But if you don't have access to GoHighLevel, then you want to basically sign up with my link right here, which is start an extended free trial, and you get 14 days free, just like so. So that's that. And you can go ahead and set up this landing page and get a booking link just like so, and then pull that into your lead form, and you're good to go. So, yep, we have the post booking page as well, which I just ran through, and also the triage calls. So I won't give you a script for this because it's really simple, but it's very important to be good at setting appointments for this reason, because you're going to get a ton of bookings over paid ads, especially if you use these ads that I've showed you in this video. And it's very important that you call them before the meeting as a triage. And basically from there, you can confirm one, whether or not they're good to make the call. And then 2, make sure the business partners are available if there is any. And then 3, go through their application to make sure that they're qualified to actually move forward with the call. And it's very important that you're good at setting appointments. This is why I also recommend starting off with like cold outbound, because if you're good at setting appointments, instead of having like setters triage for you, you can do this for yourself and basically get them super excited for the call and explain like it's going to be me taking your call in a day or in a couple hours or whatever. So I look forward to speaking with you. I just want to make sure a couple things were good and checked out of the way. And yeah, we'll hop on a couple hours. Are you good to join the meeting? Do you know how to join and all that good stuff? Have you seen the video beforehand? So these are all things that you can cover in the triage call. So if you want more specific details on the process of running specifically paid ads to get clients, you can always check this video on my channel, which is how I get AI agency clients with paid ads step by step. This video is in the bottom of this resource and number 4. So let's jump on and move to sales. All right, 30% close sales systems. Now over my entire agency journey, I've closed at around 30%, some months a little bit lower, some months a little bit higher. And a lot of it comes down to confidence and, having good rapport, making sure they like me. Because I'm not the best at sales, don't get me wrong, but I can still close at 30%. And I'm going to show you and break down my sales framework, 2 powerful masterclasses on actually, sales operations and sales fundamentals. In addition to that, I'm going to show you a live call of mine, a live close, and break down why it closed, and every step of the way. So instead of just showing you a recording so you can just like observe it, I want to explain why the things worked. So I do want to kind of explain also the issue that 99% of these agencies are facing. With most agencies I help, they come in with a similar problem, and it's that they can book appointments and all this stuff and get names on the calendar just fine. But they can't get anyone to actually show up to the call. Now, there's a few levers that we can pull and set up beforehand to kind of improve this and help this dramatically. And first things first is just setting confirmation text / email reminders in my agency snapshot. If you sign up with my link, I email it to you. There's basically reminders and a whole automation sequence that you can actually use and implement to basically send confirmation texts and email reminders to people that book calls in with you, as well as a triage call is a very important lever you can pull as well. So calling them 2 hours before, confirming them, exciting them, getting them ready for the call, making sure they're good to go, making sure they know how to join as well. And the third thing is having a really good post-booking page with a solid pre-call VSL. It doesn't matter whether you book them via cold calling, cold SMS, cold email, or whatever it is. It's very important that they watch some kind of video about you beforehand to understand the proof that you have, if you have any, the context about your business, where you've been published, if you've been published, overall just a confident understanding about like what you do, and just to get them excited about the outcome that they can actually get, right? And once again, if you want to sign up with my GoHighLevel, I will send you 3 winning pre-call VSLs. I will send you the snapshots with the automations for this confirmation text and email reminders. And if you want to see exactly what this free gift looks like once you sign up with my link, it is the agency snapshot that I explained, including the sales funnel and the post-booking pages, the client snapshot as well, which is probably the most valuable one, honestly, because like you can go from my like V10 of client, delivery to basically make yours. The cold SMS masterclass, like I explained earlier, that includes, the snapshot included there, and that is a unlisted video on YouTube, as well as a leaked cold SMS calling script that is super, super valuable. That has like, I don't even know how many views on Loom, 54 views on Loom from just people that I've helped in coaching programs and stuff over the years. So, as well as a productivity masterclass that is also enlisted on YouTube, but more importantly, 3 winning pre-call VSLs as well. So that is the 3 things that you should pull in the beginning to kind of improve that show rate, get people to show up for the call. Another thing is just booking them not too far out. So even taking them same day bookings or within 24 to 48 hours from booking them. So that's another good example of things you can do to kind of pull that lever. Now let's go through my master sales framework. I don't think I've ever actually explained this, just kind of thrown it at you. Now, we can see someone else already on here, but basically pre-call preparation, small chat, stating the agenda, understanding their current situation. Like, I like to use a sales framework like this so that if you get lost, you can go ahead and look at what you should be kind of going into, what you kind of should be directing the call to, making sure you have enough momentum and especially in the right direction towards the close. And this scriptless framework right here is really good for that. What's good about this is that in the beginning, you can just practice this one-on-one with yourself, hop on a call, or even do mock calls with other people. This is why I love having a community full of agency owners that you can apply for in the description, no plug. But you can basically do mock calls with other people and practice your sales abilities. So when you hop on these calls, you're ready to go. You have basically experience closing, and you can have a much higher close rate percentage. I mean, you can literally double your close rate by doing mock calls. And you can use the scriptless framework to basically do it. You can craft your pitch right here, which is a super valuable little resource to craft a solid pitch, how I go about talking about the investment and next steps, and even an entire master guide on handling objections that's 5 pages long. So tons of value here. With the scriptless framework, I recommend making your own scriptless framework that you can use because everyone sells differently. Everyone's different in the way that they are. I'm typically more rapport heavy and less discovery, more like practical and more like action based. So I explain like, I just want to see the systems that you're currently running in your business. I want to see how you're generating leads, how many leads you're generating from what you're doing, and see if my systems can implement and basically incorporate to that to help you get to the next level. Right? That's what I kind of position myself as on the call. So it's different than what a lot of people do, but it's what I do. Because honestly, in sales, just do more of what works for you. Okay? Don't copy someone exactly. And that's the reason why I recommend making a scriptless framework, and also why I preach not using a direct script. So here is a short but powerful 2-part masterclass. Part 1, I'm going to go over the sales fundamentals right here. And also after that, the sales operations video. These are shortened videos of longer video modules that I have for my paid clients. So I'm going to go through those now. And then after that, we are going to break down a $4,000 close from start to finish. And you're going to understand exactly how he closed. Now, just some final advice before we go into this stuff is don't expect anything. Okay. Don't expect to be at 10K a month unless you have taken at least 30 to 50 taken sales calls. I'm not saying booked calls on the calendar. I'm talking like you have sat down with another business owner and you have directly taken the call with them. If you haven't taken at least 30 to 50 calls, don't expect to be at 10K a month. Okay. Once again, the highest leverage thing you can do to sign more clients is to book appointments or close deals. That's it, the entire day. Number 2, be way more confident than you think you have to on the call. This is a big one. Honestly, I got asked a question from one of my clients the other day. Absolute killer. He's going to scale to like 10, 20K a month super soon. But like, the thing is that like he asked a question that was really, really good recently. He asked the question of like, what do you think was the biggest determining factor as to why you couldn't close before and why you could close after you got your first high ticket close? And the answer was I was just so much more confident. On the call, I was like, yeah, 100%. We are going to get you this result. It's going to be amazing. Instead of being like, yeah, so we can probably get you like 10 more roof replacements on like a paper results basis. Like the difference between those two is the difference between a 1% or 0% close rate and a 20% close rate. Being confident in yourself. I don't care where you need to get this confidence from. If you can have it, be more confident than you think you are on the call, and you will get a better result. Number 3, focus on being genuine. Be caring. Have the right intentions. If you have bad intentions and malintentions with these guys, they can see through that by how you speak, your body language, how you treat them. And if you have the right intentions where you're like, you actually want to genuinely help these businesses grow, then that will come across in the right way in the call and it'll naturally lead to the close. And then number 4, literally just sell. Like I'm telling you this, if you can take away anything from this whole entire video, however long it is, I don't care if it's 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, whatever it is, literally just sell for the next 90 days straight and you will change your life. So let's go into sales fundamentals and understand more about the fundamentals behind like why sales is. And then from there, I'll show you and explain my sales operations. And then after that, you can break down a $4,000 close. And you'll understand exactly how I collected that cash. So hope you enjoyed up to this point, and let's get into it.
Hey everyone, it's Owen Rensland, and welcome to the Art of Sales Lite. Now, this module is going to basically contain a simple overview of everything you need to sign your first couple of clients. Maybe simple, maybe not so simple. And basically, it's going to cover everything in depth. We've got a lot of 23 fun pages for you to basically explain how to close more clients for your agency or your online business. Now, I just want to mention that this is a light version of the paid group that is called Agency Link, which has over 1,055 slides. That is the sales training that I have in Agency Link. And today you guys get a few 20 to 30 minute videos just to basically help you do the same and sign clients. And if you don't believe me, here's the screenshot to prove it. Now, let's jump into sales fundamentals. So a lot of people ask, why am I not at 10K a month yet? And that's honestly the wrong question. You should be asking, how many sales calls have I taken? Because on average, it takes 100 conducted sales calls to hit 10K a month. So if you at any point are wondering, okay, wait, why am I not at 10K a month? I've been doing this for so long. How many conducted sales calls have you taken? Because I went back and looked at my old sales call recordings, and it took me 25 no's to get my first yes. And then it took 50 conducted calls to hit 10K a month. So I did it in half the time, but I did have some previous experience with door-to-door sales. So my philosophy for sales is to sell scriptless, utilize neuroscience, and use presence in order to drive the transformation. And the goal of the salesperson is not to sell something, okay? It's to facilitate the transference of energy. Like it's the whole point is to take someone that's in a low buying level in the first place, give them your energy of who they need to become in order to get the outcome they dream of. A lot of this stuff is at the identity level, similar to the mindset module. So, scriptless selling intro. Now, I want to explain that not every prospect is the same, okay? So like, yeah, your niche has affinity to one another, like people are similar in your niche, but everyone is different. Everyone comes from different places. Everyone has different experiences, different family, different cultures, different religions, and everything is so different about every person that you can't use a one-size-fits-all sales script. It's silly. It won't work. And it's so interesting why the biggest gurus, like Charlie Moore, actually I won't name too many of them, but they teach to use a script, a sales script, but then their closers don't use one. Like, why are they teaching differently than what they're actually preaching and doing? Blows my mind. So here's just a few misconceptions about sales. You have to be super high energy. False. You have to be malleable. You have to be able to go from low to high depending on theirs. The best salespeople are extroverts. False. Introverted people do well as well because they listen and speak with intention. Follow-up is what closes deals. False. Follow-up is for people who can't close. Great salespeople were born with it. False. They have just taken more calls and have more experience. You need to look around. You need to look and sound professional in sales. False. You need to look genuine. Scripts can make my close rate predictable. False. Everyone is different. Scripts, there's no way to make sales predictable unless you can manage your state and manage your skills. I must close everyone. False. Please only close the people that you can actually help. Business owners don't like being on sales calls. False. They appreciate a good sales process. People won't pay $2 to $5K a month for one 45-minute meeting. False. If they believe in the transformation, if they believe that you can actually take them to where they need to go, they will justify the cost, even if it's $5 to $10K plus. The price only becomes a problem when your belief is weak and you lack confidence and conviction. So here's the reason why people buy. They buy because of purpose. People don't buy because of pain. This is a common misconception. They buy because of purpose to escape the pain and move towards the identity that they crave. Think about the last time you bought something high ticket. For example, for me, I bought a coaching program that's $5,200 a month. Not because I was in so much damn pain that I had to do it, but because I just craved the identity and I wanted to move forward towards the identity of being more successful and also escape the pain of not being as successful as I know I could be. Right? That's the reason why I bought it. So I want to explain, in sales, you basically define their current situation using the call because everyone understands that they could be in a better situation, right? Everyone has this sense of agitation, right? It's like you, for example, maybe watched my YouTube videos or you watched my Instagram or whatever it is, and you decided that life could be better and you could make more money and you could sign more clients. Then you realize that you were in that agitated situation, so it drove you to basically make a decision and join this program, right? It's the same thing with these guys for any agency at all. They understand that they could be getting more clients, more jobs, and more, things in the door. So they booked a call with you. And then it's your job on the call to basically define where they're at, figure out where they're at, and have a clear understanding to create a gap in order to bridge you, your offer, and your service as the gap between where they were or where they are right now and where they need to go. So there's 4 parts of communication in sales. So there's words, tonality, intention, and self-image. Believe it or not, everyone thinks all that matters is the words you say. That's why they use scripts. But actually, according to Mehrabian's rule, words is 7%. Like 7% of its words. 38% of its tonality. So more importantly, it's how you say it. There's a huge difference. Like imagine saying, well, I really want to just know, I don't even think I can help you in the first place. I really want to figure out if I can help you. First, yeah, I just kind of want to see where you're at and see if I can actually help you in the first place. There is a huge difference between tonality. That might not be the best example, but it's it could be the difference between someone saying fuck off and someone buying from you. Now, the last 55% of it is intention and self-image. So it's actually what you want for them because people can smell intention. And self-image is also very important. You have to believe that you're the person that can handle their problem and solve it for them, and also that can drive that transformation for them through your product and your business. So please focus on these 3. Don't worry about the words you say. Worry about the tonality, intention, and self-image. If not, more of these things than anything else. So presence and truth. This is the biggest superpower in sales, okay? Because the market, especially in the agency space, whatever kind of agency it is, it's flooded with overused scripts, robotic pitches, and no authenticity whatsoever. People are not genuine. And I scaled my agency with an authentic approach. And this is the key to my high close rate. So what I recommend is being insanely present on these calls. Just making sure that the prospect understands that you are with them, right? Because an important thing is with the truth. It's you have to catch their bullshit, okay? And not nod. Listen to them, let their words sink in, but actively listen and make them feel understood. Because when they give you BS, most sales guys just nod. But the good ones call out the bullshit and basically correct them and figure out more about that. Because the biggest trust builder out of all time is active listening. It's crazy because everyone thinks, if I had 10 testimonials, I would be able to scale to 100K a month. It's no, you're wrong. Because the number one trust builder is active listening. I'm telling you, you don't need a ton of testimonials. You don't need a ton of success stories. You don't need experience fulfilling. You just need confidence and to actively listen and be good at sales. So a huge part of this is getting them to be truthful. So calling out their lies, calling out their bullshit, calling out what they're telling you that's not true. Because sometimes they have these lies that they're telling to you, but also they tell them to themselves, right? And some prospects will slightly lie about their numbers or information or give you ranges when you ask them how many leads they have or how many, jobs they get. And it's very important that you don't let them lie and let them get away with it, because if they do, then they're just going to lie their way off the call at the end instead of actually, giving you a truthful answer. But if you want to get them to tell the ruthless truth and get it out of them, then you need to sell scriptless. And let me give you an example here. So let's say this guy right here, the geek with the script, is going in a sales call and is reading off the script and basically going through the same exact process for a client. But he finds that the guy just doesn't feel heard, because he feels like he's being interviewed, just going question after question after question after question. And here's the Chad. The Chad is going through no script. He's just working through the questions and actually figuring out what's going on. And the difference is that this guy, his prospect doesn't feel heard. This guy's prospect feels heard and understood. So the trust is way higher here. And also he likes him more because he's not just feeling he's talking to a script and a piece of paper. He's talking to a person that can actually help and solve their problems. This is the difference, and this is why you have to delete your script. And now I will say you could use a framework, like a little bit of a framework, just in case you get lost in the beginning when you're in sales. But honestly, just remove your script. I know it sounds hard, and for your first couple of things, it will be, but it doesn't have to be, because you'll get better through mock calls. But we'll explain that later. So the 3 levels of communication. So throughout the sales calls, you will be going through these 3 levels. Now, I want to just explain that in level 1, there's data collection. Level 1, this is kind of the surface level, and they walk away feeling like nothing happened. And I will say that closing a deal at level 1 is pretty much impossible, because the client and the prospect has surface level awareness of their problems. They need a deeper level of understanding and awareness to their problems, so they understand that something needs to change, so they actually have enough buy-in. Now, while I mentioned this is just kind of a fundamental part of sales, right? I'm just kind of teaching you this now. You will understand this when we talk about the discovery in the 3rd video in this module. But just remember this graph. Remember that there's a surface level, a level 2, and a level 3. And to close someone, you have to go into the level 2 or level 3. You can't stay in that surface level. I want leads. I need more work, because these guys will hop in the sales call with you and they'll be like, oh, I just want more leads. And people will pitch eventually. And it's if you never dig into that level, they will just walk away and act like nothing happened. So level 2 is beginning to agitate between the effort and the outcome. Now, this is kind of the why stage, right? Because you're learning why they want the things that they want. And they have a big, a good conclusion for this level is to basically hold up a mirror. So this is where we're digging into specific numbers, specific metrics, and we're actually figuring out exactly what's going on in their business and the problem. And you'll know that you're in level 2 if you're using container words, which are just words that have a lot of meaning packed behind them. For example, I need help, or this is something I need. Those are things that container, just basically any words that have a lot of meaning behind them. Because in the surface level, there is no meaning, there is no buy-in, there's no emotional momentum, there's nothing, right? Level 3 is the transformative / identity level. The real salespeople that I know that crush it are the people that can change people's identities on a call. And the way they do that is by letting them see a truer version of themselves. And a good example is when I was joining a mentorship for an agency program a while ago, the sales rep actually made me visualize and see the type of entrepreneur and person I could become if I decided to take that action, right? And he expanded on it, and he challenged me in level 2 and held up the mirror, and I really just began to take accountability for my lack of growth and progress, and got me to this identity level 3 at the point where I was like, holy shit, I understand who I could be. I am the person to do this. I am not the type of person to do this, and that's the key word. If you are hearing the prospect say I am, that means you're in the level 3 or you're getting there. So that's the key to close a lot of deals, is to basically transfer that energy to them and to show who they could be by showing them and letting them see a truer version of themselves. I can't believe this program is as cheap as it is. So state management is just your thoughts, your posture, your mindset, because buying is 80% emotion. So it's not purely logical. So you really need to make sure your state is good. So for example, if you have negative self-talk before a call, you say, I really need this sale, or what did they say? No, this prospect sucks. I suck. They're better than me. What did they say? No, this doesn't work. This won't work even if I do sign them. Feeling unprepared. I hope I remember everything. This is not how to manage your state, because it's really important to be consistent and be a good closer. You have to manage your state. You have to manage the condition and mindset that you have when you go into the call. So as human, we have lots of negativity biases, right? Every time we have a positive thought, we tend to throw up about 3 negatives. And you'll see people that can't manage their state and manage their emotions, you'll be around them and they'll be extremely negative. right? They'll be extremely negative all the time because that's human bias, because it's designed to keep us in survival mode. Because like if you can't manage your state, you can't manage your emotions, then you will basically let these 3 negative thoughts for every positive thought like succumb and like overcome you, right? And the reason why this exists is because it keeps us in survival mode. Because worst case thoughts flood your system all the time and they give you cortisol, adrenaline, triggering that fight or flight response with a faster heart, shaky hands, racing mind, and those are all geared to keep us survive like alive, right? And this is just instinctual with all humans. So if you want to basically break that and break that negativity bias and be more positive and live a more positive life, then you have to get good at managing your state and managing your emotions and your mindset. This is some insane advice that I honestly wish every negative person that I talk to could hear, because this changes not just sales, but changes everything. So to help manage your state, I recommend taking 3 deep breaths before every call, and then also stating your 3 words. Now, what I mean by that is basically write out on a piece of paper a bunch of words that have meaning to you in regards to the act, like how you actually want to show up to these calls. There will be 3 that kind of, I don't know if anyone that, if you watch this, have seen the show Severance, but if you've seen the show Severance, you know what I'm talking about. Like, you basically will write down a bunch of words on a piece of paper, choose the 3 ones that just kind of stand out to you in a weird way, and you want to say those before a call. So, for example, you take deep breaths and be like, grounded, focused, intentional, or whatever your 3 words are to basically manage your state and get you in the state of selling. So identity-based selling, this is so important. Who you are off the call is who you are on the call. So this is the same thing with all just entrepreneurship in general that I cover in the mindset module. Your identity is everything. You have to see yourself in a certain way, especially in sales, because whatever you think or believe influences your results, because who you are off the call is who you are on the call. So you want to change your identity and consistently build those habits, and they allow them to become instinct after 60 to 90 days, because sales isn't something you do, it's who you become. And another thing, just never focus on your ability, okay? Because your ability does not matter, your current ability. Focus on your current, focus on intention, okay? Focus on where you want to go and who you want to become. Focus on your current ability in sales. Like, it's so easy to be like, oh, I've never closed a deal, it's not my ability to close. And that's how ability can trap you, but intention is infinite. I want to be this person. I intend to step into that higher version of myself and become better at sales. Because when you show up fully to these calls, you're aligned, you're certain, you're emotionally present, your state is managed, you're truthful, you're catching, presence. You're no longer selling, right? You're facilitating a change and showing them who they could be if they decided to take action with you. Because a good salesman sells a product. A great salesman, however, sells a future or a transformation. Because people don't buy products, they buy feelings, status, identity, and results. This is so valuable. So I also want you to keep in mind that you can't become a great sales rep overnight, okay? The best sales rep that I know have taken hundreds and hundreds of calls and have spent a lot of time perfecting their craft. Because if you think you aren't great at sales or you aren't capable of closing huge deals, I want you to take 30 to 60 calls and watch this module 2 to 3 times and come back. And I guarantee if you take 30 calls, watch this module 2 to 3 times throughout that time, and read this book, Neuroselling by Jeff Bloomfield, you will close clients. You will close a lot of clients. So do that. Do all of this. So I hope you guys enjoyed sales fundamentals. This is just a short little video. I think the actual sales fundamental video is like 2 hours long, something crazy, an agency link. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. So have a good day. Hey everyone, it's Owen Rensland, and welcome to the final video in Agency School for Sales. Now, this video is going to go over sales operations. This might blow your mind, but this is going to basically be the best video for sales, just for high ticket closing calls. Specifically, in the last video, we covered settings, so that means setting appointments. And this one is going to be over closing calls. Now, this is very interesting because we do cover this scriptless selling. We don't just give you a sales script and say good luck. We explain why we do what we do. So this might blow your mind, but this is going to be the best sales framework you ever see. And the drum roll, please. Ready? Now, this is a lot more fun to do in a slideshow, not a Google Doc, but rapport, frame, discovery, pitch, close. Okay, this is how you want to structure your sales calls. Now, rapport, depending on your style, rapport is usually the first 1 to 4 minutes of the call. I'm usually typically more rapport heavy because I like to have my buyers like me for some reason. And this is where you introduce yourself to the prospect and you make a little bit of small talk before you actually jump into the call. Now, this is insanely important because you need the prospect to open up. That's what we want. We want them to trust you, and we just want them to move forward with the conversation. So in the beginning, your tone and energy are everything, because you have to start out positive and excited. Now, the one thing I do want to mention really quickly in sales, If I go into the drawing aspect here, let me just show you what I'm talking about. So let me quickly explain something in sales just before we jump right in. So with tone and energy throughout the call, you want to be very careful. That is really, really thin. Okay, so this exists on a spectrum, right? This being 0, this being 100. Now, you don't want to be 100% tone and 100% confident, 100% all-time energy the whole call, right? Because then they're going to be like, what the fuck, this guy's crazy. But you also don't want to start the call at 0, because if you start the call at 0, you're going to be depressed and sound like terrible. And the difference between these two, 0 is be like, hey, how's it going? Good. Yeah, so I understand. 100 being like, hey, what's going on? Welcome. Like you literally sound like a YouTuber, right? So it's very important throughout the sales call, if this is the entire sales call from start to finish, you use tone in the right way. Now, I'm going to try to draw this out for you. You want to start the call a little bit higher in tone. And as you get into discovery, you want to slowly lower your tone and you get into more of the serious questions. And then when you pitch, you want to go back up to that insane confidence and tone level and explain how you can help them and close out the sale like that. I think this is a pretty accurate drawing as to what I've seen and what I've experienced on calls myself. And also my closer would probably agree with this. So it's important because you can't do it all. Like here, if this is the median line, you will be dipping your tone throughout the call, right? You'll be changing things. You'll be acting differently depending on the questions that you're asking. If you're getting more deep into dark, your tone's going to be down and you're not going to be joyful, excited, and confident. But then when you get into the pitch, you are, and when you close the deal, you are at the end, just to get that final push over that threshold, which will be around here. Now, the thing is with sales, it's very, very important because the closer, experienced closers can watch a call back and be and see whether or not the deal probably didn't close within the first 5 minutes of the call. So in the first 4 minutes, this is your chance to bring them into your frame, because the thing is also with this Miro board is that this is your energy, right? Not the prospect's energy. And the prospect will, I'm going to draw a red line here to represent the prospect's energy. They'll start somewhere usually around here because they don't like being on sales calls, or maybe they love being on sales calls, so they're right here. And it's important that you take them up. You take their tone and energy up to match yours by having enough energy. So sometimes you have to put your own energy even higher just to get them to meet you in the middle, right? To actually get them to facilitate that transformation. And it's the same thing. It's like with your tone here, when you go into the more deep discovery, you have to sometimes even lower that even more just so that their tone isn't super go-giddy and happy and excited during discovery when it should be down here, right? Because you want them to match you. Because to build the most rapport and to build the most trust, you want them to be on the same track as you the whole call. I don't know why I haven't thought about this in this way before, but it's exactly how you close deals. And this is how you get people to trust you. So in the beginning of the call, you want to meet them and actually bring their tone up and bring them into your frame. Be like, hey, what's going on, John? How are you doing today? Awesome. Yeah, it's super nice to put a name to the face finally here. So where are you calling out of? No way, Tennessee. How is it right there? Or how is it there right now? Awesome. No way. That's sweet. And you want to have that positive and excited tone to hop on a call. You listen to some people's sales calls and the beginning is like, hello? Can you hear me? How you doing? Where are you calling out of? That is so fucking lame, and you could just tell that person's not going to buy from you. So, like I said, most experienced closers can tell whether or not a deal closes in the first 4 minutes. And so there's 4 different kinds of energies that you'll kind of gather from the first 5 minutes of them talking. So there's practical, action-based, social, and emotional. Social and emotional are typically more women. Practical and action-based are typically the more people that you'll find that are business owners, right? So it's very important that you kind of tailor your strategies and your tactics to their energy type. Because in the beginning of the call, they're like, let's just jump right in. I want to know exactly what you can do to help me. That might be more of an action-based. Or you're like, oh, I just want to see the numbers. I want to make sure that everything lines up with the KPIs and everything and the metrics, and so that we can move forward. That's more of a practical business owner. Social, they just want someone to listen to them. And emotional, same thing with there as well. Now, the 3-step rapport building process I have for you is to have a very friendly introduction. So smile, make them feel welcome and exciting. And then I want you to basically make a snap adjustment of your personality to match theirs, match their energy type based on what you think it is. And this is really, really good because you will basically get hints of their personality type by keywords. So if they start swearing and say all right, let's fucking get into this, then you can tell that they're probably more of a practical based person that's action based, that they want to just kind of get going into things. And so you match their language in the first 4 minutes of the call. Because but the thing is, don't match their language if they're low energy. Like we mentioned in the Miro board, you want to bring them up. So start out with a super cliche question. Where are you calling out of? Or where'd you first hear about us? Or that's a really good question, even if you're doing cold SMS or cold outbound, because like that kind of indicates that you're a bigger company and that you have a lot more to offer. And this is also good because they want to understand why they're on the call in the first place. So it's like a little bit of conscious congruency and intention behind that question. And then before you get started, so I can best help you out, what are you looking to get out of this call? You know, these super basic and cliche questions kind of just open some barriers and get you past that point and get you into the call. But be very careful, because in rapport, if you do too much rapport, you'll lose control of the conversation. So don't do that. Now, if they sense you might be, if you sense they might be unqualified, you have to jump in, like right in and be stronger. Don't like spend 5 minutes on rapport if you sense they might be unqualified. If they're smoking on the call, if they're taking the call in a car, if they don't seem like they're, you know, they just aren't respecting you, if they're showing up late, if they have people in the background, if they're talking to people, like if you sense they might be unqualified, just ask a couple of questions. Just be like, you know, this is going to be like a multi-4-figure investment. So I'm just making sure this is going to be a good fit. So like, is this a good time to take the call, or should we just take it another time? Because you shouldn't accept a lack of disrespect. If they show up late with their mic or camera doesn't work, or they start smoking, don't accept this. Like, just don't accept this. Literally don't accept this. Get up, grab a drink of water, go do something just to regain frame control, because them showing that lack of respect is just walking all over your frame, and you need frame to close the deal. So towards the end of rapport, also, if you have a pre-call process, like you have a VSL that they need to watch or whatever, make sure that they have seen it as well. That's very, very important. And so frame. Now this is the second part of the process right here. We're just going to go through every single part to the close. Now, after you go through and like build the rapport, you're like, all right, let's jump right in. Now, frame is really, really important. It's basically who leads the call. And you want to set a frame by basically establishing authority with rules, tone, and direction of the conversation, so the prospect can see you as the authority, because you're the one offering services to them. So whoever sets frame leads the call, and you're either holding a frame or you're in someone else's. There is no middle ground here. It's like saying a breakup is mutual. Like it's never mutual. So with cold traffic, like cold calling, cold SMS, cold email, there's usually a lack of urgency. So the frame is very important, because they're not like, they didn't book the call on themselves technically. I mean, they kind of did, but they also kind of didn't. And they also might not even know exactly what the call is about. So it's very important that you set frame in the correct way and be strong with it and have a lot of conviction. Just keep in mind that with business owners that are typically older, they usually have an ego, and you don't take this in the wrong way. They probably aren't a dick. Like, they might be a dick, but probably not. They more likely just have a strong character. So have charisma, laugh through it, because like usually they're just challenging you because you're a salesperson for no reason, right? Because at the end of the day, sales is truly just a game. Now, I have tons of set examples in Agency Link, but here's a general set that you can use. Just know that you can kind of tailor your set to the type of energy, right? Because in here, we have the different energy types, and if you find out they're social or action-based or practical, you can tailor your set specifically towards them, right? So this is the general one. Appreciate you hopping on just to kind of jump into things here. I've got about 45 minutes carved out for you, so here's how this is going to work. I'm going to ask you questions to understand where you're at, and if I think we can help, I'll walk you through what that would look like. Fair enough? That's a general set to kind of just hold and get that authority in the beginning. Once again, whoever sets frame leads the call, because you want to be the one asking them questions so you can go and dig into their pain points. Now, and actually drive that transformation. So that is the general set. Like I said, there's lots of different ways you can set. You can do more practically. So for example, if there's a practical guy that wants, like a practical business owner that wants to know more about like metrics and stuff, you can be like, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a deep dive into your business, figure out exactly what your bottlenecks and constraints are at, and exactly how our system works to fix those for you. How does that sound? That's the same exact set as this, but tailored for a different type of person. So discovery is the next point. So this is like 15 to 35 minutes of the call. It's the main portion of the call. This is where you're going to uncover the current situation, the pain points, the goals. It's exactly where you take their current situation and their agitation, separate from where they are to where they want to be, create that gap from where they currently are and where they want to be. That is the whole point of the discovery process. So it's basically a series of questions in a conversation that you ask them to learn more about their situation, to see if you can help them with your offer. And once again, if you want call recording feedback, you can create a post in school that says call recording or sales call review, I believe. It's a category similar to the introduction that you made, and we will basically review your call. So discovery is a conversation, but there's 3 aspects of discovery: presence, expansion, and emotional momentum. Now, before you nod me off, you're like, what the hell are these? Let's go ahead and go through them. So presence because we don't sell with a script, because we scriptless sell, it's common to not know what to ask, okay? Because most people sell with scripts, and so they have lists of questions to ask, and they never run out of questions. But the key of sales, this is the key thing with sales. You have to do mock calls with friends. You have to practice and learn how to properly do these discoveries and line of questionings, because you need to learn how to dig into their pain points, dig into things that they give you, and build emotional momentum. And the problem is, if you use a script, you ask questions that are all over the place in the discovery that have no correlation in relation to one another. Because your questions should be going off of their responses, not just questions for question's sake. Because otherwise, you're not building emotional momentum. Emotional momentum is building emotion in a direction towards the sale. And if you're asking them random questions, then you're not going towards the sale, because you're not building any emotional momentum. That's why it's very important to be present on the call. Just listen. Just listen to them. It'll build so much trust. Just sit there and actually listen to them. Because you're going to ask questions, and the prospect will give you fuel. And it's your job to dig and separate their current state from where they want to go by digging into those different points that they'll give you. So what I recommend you do is have a starting question that you do in every single discovery process with every client. For example, what's the biggest problem in your sales process right now? What's the biggest bottleneck in your sales process right now? If you start off with a bigger question, you are, first of all, perceived as an expert, and from that question, you'll either get a vague response or a lot of good stuff. So if you get a vague response, it's your responsibility to collect data and ask questions about their leads and about their job flow and about what types of jobs they get and how long they've been doing this for, etc., and get them to take ownership of their bad situation. Because otherwise, if there wasn't a bad situation, they wouldn't be on a call with you. And if there's no bad situation, then they'll get off the call, but they're probably lying, because it probably more than likely there is a bad situation going on. So yeah. Now, if you get a lot of information from that initial first question, your goal is to find the actual constraint and issue. Okay, that's your goal. So these are the 2 goals of discovery based on that first question to help you guide and go through that process. And remember this iceberg that we went over? This is the discovery process. And the surface level 1 is when you collect the truth. There's no responsibility, and they haven't taken any responsibility for the situation, right? And so it's very, very important that with discovery, we can get them to take 100% of their situation. And by then, and especially with an identity level, and they understand where they want to go, that's when they're ready to buy. And don't pitch until then. So we've got to make sure they take ownership of their situation. And then with presence, we can kind of catch stuff and push on them. And ultimately, this whole surface level 1 is just to dig into their answers. To look into basically specific answers. So how many jobs last month? What about the month before? How many leads? What specifically have you looked at in the past? How did that go? All that good stuff. Any concerns about that? You want to just basically learn and collect data about them. Okay. And eventually you expand. Now, expansion is all about building on these ideas and asking why and figuring out what's actually going on under the surface, right? That's why it's under the surface, like an iceberg. Shout out ChatGPT for helping me make this visual. So by expanding, you get to that level 2, and there has to be some level of openness, because you are going to hold up the mirror to them, right? You're going to show them ugly truths, and you're going to pierce their soul. But you're doing it because you believe there's a better future for them. You just have to help them to see, right? And so it's very important that you have that kind of level of openness in your tone. Otherwise, they're going to just start arguing with you. And just understand that if you have the right intention going into the call and you actually want to help them and you actually give a shit, you'll have this tone naturally, and you'll have this level of openness, and things will work. So remember, proper pre-framing can kind of help to show whether or not you give a fuck, because if people just listen to question, they will probably think that you're just surveying them, that you don't really give a fuck about their situation. So what you can do there is pre-framing each question. Be like, got it, okay, that makes complete sense. Wait, so that makes me curious, you mentioned this, what about this? And you actually have a transition into each question, right? So to actually enter level 2 from level 1, all you have to do is dig more and expand more about what they're saying to you. Okay, but be careful, because every time you expand on something, you are starting to create emotional momentum. And what most people do is ask a completely different question after digging into that pain point, but instead just keep going on that one thing. Just keep going on that fuel point. Keep widening that gap, keep getting more specificity in their answers, and dig and create pain and gravity in the situation. Don't switch questions right when you're in the middle of building pain. It's like trying to change your identity where 30 days in, you just give up. Utilizing presence and truth to drive that transformation. So for example, a business owner might tell you that they work 120 hours a week. A bad sales rep would be like, wow, that's a lot. But a good sales rep would be like, so 17 hours a day? How is that? Explain exactly how that looks. And you'll basically get them to a point where they admit that they were just basically lying to you and exaggerating, right? And that's what you want. You want that presence, the presence to catch them that they said this, and bring out the truth so you can figure out what's truly going on, so they don't just lie their way off the call. Because if we take that truth and we layer it, we create a ton of emotional momentum. So for example, how much did you guys make this month? Exactly. They give you a range and you ask, oh wait, so was it this amount or this amount? And you get the exact amount. Okay, how about last month? What about the month before that? Because chances are, like, most of these business owners will be like, or whoever you're selling to will be like, I make between 4 and 8K a month. The answer is 4. Or I get like 4 to 6 leads a month. How many last month? 3. How many month before that? 2. How many this month? 4. So you don't actually get 4 to 8, you get 2 to 4. And you actually have to tell them that and be truthful with them there. Because emotional momentum is that kind of energy transfer. It's like when you can feel them having these internal shifts, and you have to prove them that everything's not okay, right? You have to create that emotional momentum towards the sale, because if you realize, like, a lot of this information that they give you, like, it's very good, and you just want to keep building on it. Like, for example, if they give you a lot of info in the beginning, just figure out like to that first initial question I'm talking about. So like the biggest constraint. If they give you a ton of information there, so you don't actually have to collect very much data and you're instantly already in sort of like level 2, then figure out what happened to make them realize that they needed to change and what specifically they've done since then and what they haven't been able to do for that much time. What's let them pass these days by? What's driving for them to make this change in the first place? Because you could just continue to do it. Why is it different now? These are an amazing route to go if they give you a ton of information from that first question. You keep layering it. Do you think people that have made that change in less than 270 days? What are those people doing differently than you? And the whole point of this like emotional momentum to just dig into these pain points is to get more commitment and make sure everything that their experience is, it's in the now. Not in the future, not in the past, it's in the now. So they want to take action today. So when you get to that transformational level 3, they will have 100% responsibility and control for the situation. And these business owners are most of them aren't going from 0 to 5K a month. Most of them are going to like from 50 to 100 or whatever. And so you can ask them questions along the lines of like, do you feel like you're a business owner? Like you're asking these identity level questions. What's even going to change when you hit $1 million a year? Like you could just sell at 600K a year. Like, look, I get it. You're in a good position. But we at Bridging Media, like we are in the position from taking people from good to great. So what does great look like for you? And you can basically dive into these key metrics and like push intensity. The thing is with discovery, you guys, is that like push intensely, like a lot, be very intense. And you can always pull away. It's so much better to push insanely intense and to pull back when you went too far than to be a pussy in the first place. Because they need friction. Friction's where the sale is made. So just keep in mind, when they give you great fuel to push on, push it. Because like they'll get to quite an emotional state by just digging into one topic, like maybe that they can't see their kids at night. And what a lot of people do is like they'll dig into that and they'll be like, oh wow, okay, I understand. And then they'll ask a different question that has nothing to do with it. It's like, that's terrible. You can't ask a separate question because it can it quote unquote causes more pain. It doesn't. It moves them away from the emotional momentum that they were in the first place. You're taking them out of that emotional state. So instead of going into that other thing, just continue the emotional momentum throughout the current route and topic that you're talking about until there's no more left to squeeze. Because I will say, the one thing that'll help you to get better at discovery is watching this video 3 times will help. But more importantly, do 10 to 15 mock calls per day with people that you know. People in this program, you can make a chat in the Q&A, maybe get some people to do mock calls with you, or with just your friend. Right? Do hundreds of mock calls, practice these lines of questioning, pretend that you're a business owner and the other one's a closer, and you will improve faster than you think. So that's discovery. Now let's go ahead and move on to the next part, which is pitch right here, and then close. So here we go. Pre-pitch. Now the most common problem I get with agency owners is first of all, they pitch when it's too early to pitch. So there's not enough emotional buy-in because they don't know how to use discoveries because they use sales scripts. And there's no strong cost of inaction because they don't know what they're doing. So a good way to just transition in the pitch, once you know that they're ready to buy, and because like the key is they're starting to say, I am. They're starting to give you these identity level shifts, and you're showing them who they could be if they decide to actually go through with it. Do you think that the reason why you're not where you want to be is because you have always been the type to not make decisions like this on the spot? like stuff like that, and just get them to that point where they're at the identity level, and then get that, cost of an action in there of what happens when they don't take action. But obviously don't ask it like that because it's so common. But you want to get that answer from them, then you can move down and break into the actual details of the pitch. So you could simply just say, how would you like me to break things down, and hear how we can help you get to Y or X. I'd love to move in and break down the details. You've been talking a lot about your company and situation. I really appreciate the context. Well, I'm sure you know just as me, I'm no roofing professional. I don't know the best materials to use, how to properly lay the shingles, the best way to hire contractors, subcontractors. But with that being said, I do know is how to grow roofing companies and take them to X, or what they said in the discovery. And I've been taking notes. You can take out a pen and paper as well to take some notes. But before we jump in, I wanted to ask a quick favor. So right when you transition to the pitch, I really recommend doing a yes, no, maybe frame before you actually pitch. The let me think about it objection is so damn common that I'm literally putting this in my program. So before you pitch on every call, it's important that you say a yes, no, maybe frame. If you don't do this, you'll get I want to think about it all the time. So here's how you do it. Before we jump in, I want to just ask a quick favor. Is that okay? Cool. So the last thing we want, John, is to make you feel a lack of decisiveness at the end of this call. Like, I want to make sure you have all the information to make a solid decision. So like, you might find at the end of the call today that you love me and you say, Owen, I love you so much, please take all my money. But I want to let you know that you can say no to me. Okay, it's totally fine. But the important thing is that we as a company only do one call per prospect. And the reason is, one, that we don't want to be playing email ping pong. Two, we don't want to be playing follow-up call roulette. And three, we want partners that are actually committed to us and willing to make that change and to become the person they need to become. Now, are we able to come to a definite yes or no by the end of the call? And if they answer way too fast and they're like, yeah, then double down and be like, so yes, definite yes or no, good to go, just to make sure that they realize what they said, and then dive into the pitch. So what I have for you is some tips. First of all, what I would recommend doing for your pitch is just have a little script or framework. Boil your services down to 3 main pillars. Talk about the benefits so it's easily consumable, and then basically how it helps them get the results and the benefits associated. And then ultimately what you will actually get them in the time frame you're proposing. So keep your pitch super concise, like 1 to 4 minutes in length. And I have a resource for you in the description of this video you can use that's from Agency Link to basically go ahead and make your own. Now, I'm going to head and leave this in the description so you can go and open this now and craft your pitch. But once you craft it, basically, and you've deemed that they're ready to buy and you pitch them, after the pitch, they'll probably just naturally ask for the price. Okay, then what you want to do is drop the price. So go ahead, and after that, you just close. After you drop the price, don't say a word, okay? You drop the price. You're saying, okay, it's $4K for 3 months. And then you don't say a word. Because the first one to speak loses. At the end of the day, sales is a game, but it's very important that you do this because they will justify and self-sell themselves basically into your offer. Now, in the beginning, when you don't have too much sales experience and you don't really want to jump into a scriptless selling process, I recommend making a scriptless framework. So here's a resource from Agency Link as well that I have for you to basically go ahead and create your scriptless framework. This is in the description of this video as well, and this can kind of help you create that scriptless framework, and it's an example of mine. So you can go ahead and use this, make a copy, and do it for yourself. So with objection handling, I left you with a master guide. I cannot believe I'm giving you guys all these resources and things, but if you ever have any questions or any objections that you get at the end of the call, then you can do this. But honestly, you guys, if you watch this video enough and you do enough mock calls and your discoveries and you get to the level 3 action, you will never have an objection ever. You just won't. And you pre-handled all of them. Like, that is the power of having a good discovery, because it's so much better to just get better at discovery and pre-handle objections than to handle them at the end of the call. Now, I'm going to go ahead and give you a quick roadmap. So after watching this module, you have all the information and sales and resources you need to go crush it in sales for your agency. At least 20-30% close rate. Now, do 100 times the volume you think you just required. Do not sleep until you book 10 to 15 meetings a day. Crush it. Now go fucking close some deals. Then post the wins in the school group. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.
This is like breaking all rules of sales, because like I literally took the call and they were driving, but it's still close. He gave me the credit card information in the call in the car, so it's valid.
Yeah, I can pull this up. I mean, that's gonna be something we're gonna talk about, but yeah. I'm gonna say Owen's calls aren't perfect, but the process is a lot more like dialed in, I would say.
And that's the thing that like a lot of people don't realize, that like I'm not like a sales rep. Like I'm not really good at sales or anything. Like he's actually closing for companies, and so it's like you don't need the best sales process to like succeed in sales at all. You just need to like at least know a little bit about what you're doing. And that's really all it takes to scale pretty effectively, honestly. You don't have to be perfect or anything.
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing like a limited discovery and like a solid frame, you're gonna close people who just like really want it, right? Like if you have like a 10% close rate, and salespeople would call you ass, but like for an agency, you're gonna make plenty of money, especially if you're getting a lot of calls.
Yeah.
This meeting is being recorded.
Hey, what's going on?
I was trying to look up. I didn't know that I had to do it on the app. I'm about to clear all of this out. Just noise in the background.
How many people we got in there?
Huh?
How many people we got in there? I feel like I've been hearing like 3 people.
There's 3 people. Hold on.
Awesome. All right, so you guys can see me all right, right?
We're good. We got it good.
Does he turn his camera on?
I asked. Yeah. Okay, I can't see you guys.
Okay, let's see here what I need to do. Let me put my glasses on.
Press that little video button.
Is that it? Hold on. Let me get my glasses on. My other glasses on.
Contractors kill me.
Video, but I see record. I see a little man up here. Here we go.
There we go. Hey, Brian.
How you doing? This is Paul. How you doing, bud?
Hey, it's nice to meet you. My name's Owen. I'm founder of Bridge Lake Media. It is great to talk to you guys. Where are you guys calling out of? It's Georgia, correct?
Savannah.
Pennsylvania.
No, Savannah, Georgia.
I think
Georgia,
these guys
right? That's
are
on the
parked,
coast,
actually. I don't
right?
think they were driving.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah, I think they were
parked.
Yeah,
One guy
yeah.
in Georgia, in Alpharetta, Georgia.
Yeah, parked is fine.
Right up by Atlanta there. So,
Real quick, guys, by the way, if someone takes the call and they're driving, just reschedule them. Like, just say, okay, like, look, I don't want to cause an accident here. Like, you're gonna have to pull over for this call. Is that something you can do, or do you want to reschedule? Because the frame is cooked if they're driving. Like, have you ever spent $3,000 while driving? Probably not, right? And like, usually they'll do it. Like, my first close, the guy was driving. I had him pull over his fucking Tesla. Entire call was in his car. But like, you got to make sure they're not driving during the call, because like, you can't even really focus on the call if you're driving.
they're smoking.
Yeah, same as smoking. They start smoking, like they don't respect you. Like you wouldn't go into a business meeting or a job interview, bought a fucking cigarette.
What
was
would you
that?
say if somebody's smoking? That's different than driving.
I have an example of that in the sales thing that just went up, like the document.
Okay.
I
So
saw that.
Bradley
Yeah.
Hammond. Yeah, if they start smoking, you just say like, "What are you doing?" Like, look, we gotta take this serious. So I prefer if you wait until after to smoke, and you can tailor it to your personality and to like who they seem to be, but like definitely no smoking. Yeah.
Does that
Yeah, I
ever
mean, at
come
the end of the
across?
day, if you scare them off the call, you scare them off the call. There are plenty of guys, right? And they're coming to you because they need a service done, right? They're not on the phone because like they want to meet a new friend, right? They're on the phone because they want fucking help, right? So if they want that help, they're gonna do what they have to do to get it if they feel like they need it, right? So if you tell them like, look, we take this really serious, we can't be smoking on the call. Most of the time, they're gonna put down the cigarette, and if they don't, I mean, just kick them off the call.
Oh, okay.
Because a lot of the time it just wastes your own energy if you accept them doing some dumb shit like driving in the call, camera not being on, smoking. If they're starting to like fuck around with their dog or whatever, I've had people do that. They take a phone call during the call. They're like, hold on, I'm getting this phone call. You're just like, okay, is this a good time? How about we reschedule?
Mhm. Okay, well. I like that.
Real quick, I just want to make sure you guys are business partners, correct?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So we're not going to be needed to do any like follow-ups with other business partners, and you guys are your own. So I'm just trying to save time here. I have a lot of calls coming in, so I'm only looking to do like 1 call per person, pretty much straight shooters. If that's cool.
Right.
Awesome. So why'd
I
you
don't think that
guys?
was my frame.
Yeah, I don't think it was. Usually you do the yes, no, maybe frame.
Yeah.
Yeah, still good that you said that. Like checking that there are no extra business partners. Because if there is a business partner, they're going to tell you at the end of the call, oh yeah, I need to call my business partner. Usually it should come up in discovery. And if they say they have a business partner, that's a huge reason why they're not profitable. So you always ask that. And that's in the sales video too.
I never covered that. Like, I never like pushed that in calls ever. I never even thought about that.
Yeah, I never did either. Someone pointed it out to me. I'm like, oh, fuck. Yeah, that's true.
It's very smart.
We want to see what you have to offer.
Oh yeah. Is that it? Are you guys? I mean, I don't know. I'm assuming you see a lot of these ads around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we do. We see a lot of them around.
Yeah, I done been with home advisors, Angie's, all that crap. It didn't work out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's bad. Have you been with Angie before?
twice. They suckered me twice.
Really? How did that go?
Then when they got bought, Home Advisor and Angie bought each other. Then
Yeah, so I wouldn't be asking like if they've worked with Angie before
I think I
the
kind of
frame.
froze. I think I kind of froze because I didn't know what to say.
No, I mean like I wouldn't be doing it before the frame. It's a good question though. Let me check if you actually do set frame. I'm pretty sure you do. I don't think I've ever seen one where you didn't at all, but
Yeah, especially if it's a closed deal. Like, if you can close a deal without setting frame, like, it might be, you might be God. I think I do, bro. Like, there's no way I don't.
this has got to be the frame then because I don't see anything else. Oh yeah, here we go. Yeah. Yeah, it comes in a minute or two later. We can just skip to that. Basically, don't ask this many questions before the frame.
Right.
I like to do
Okay.
like a minute of like rapport, like small talk basically, then set frame.
Yeah, I always did way too much rapport in my calls. Like, I would like talk to them for like 3 to 4 or 5 minutes, and honestly, like, that was a complete waste of time that only hurt me. So
Yeah, some guys it's fine. Like some guys need that because it helps them like warm up. But a lot of the time, these guys like, you know, they own a business. They're working all day. They don't want to sit there and fucking talk. You know, they want to get straight to it.
yeah, but when that happened, I was pretty close to it. I was in Gainesville, so I had to fly up to Michigan. That's where I'm at right now. But just to kind of jump in here, everything I do is pretty custom. So I don't really want to throw a bunch of hypothetical numbers at you and see what sticks. Like, I need to figure out what's going on inside of your guys' business. Get some more clarity on you guys, and then like basically, I don't accept everyone. I can't. I only take 2 people per state. I already have 1 person in Georgia, so I got to make sure that you guys are like straight shooter. You guys are making enough. You guys are crushing it already. If it's a good fit, awesome. I'll show you all my stuff and basically answer all your questions. If not, no worries. But I'm not looking to do let me talk to my dog, my wife, my cat. I just want to look for straight shooters. And either if things look good and you guys like what I have to offer, you can even get onboarded on this call today. If not, because part ways as friends, there's no worries on my end. But is it impossible to like come down to like a solid yes or no by the end of the call today?
if you say what I want to hear,
Yeah.
yeah.
Anything's possible.
Yeah, I don't like the yes no maybe frame just because they'll usually say maybe anyway if they don't want to do it.
Mhm.
But that's an example of a thing you can do here to just kind of warm them up to either just hit you with a yes or just say like, this is the problem I have.
I honestly think
kind of long too. Like you don't need to do that much, but
it was long, and also I don't think I was very confident. Like, I was kind of looking away.
looking
I was saying
around,
a lot. If I was, it should have been shorter, more concise, and more directly at them. But
So that was long? What do you mean it was long? Is it like it could be even shorter?
Yeah, so if you're talking for like a minute and a half in the frame, like especially if you're looking around, like you're kind of like take a sip of your fucking drink, all that, and you're like, yeah, and like I only take on some people, so I want to make sure you're like the right fit, right? Compare that to like, okay, yeah, so in this call we're gonna be talking about who you are, what you're doing, why you're not where you already want to be. If it feels like a good fit, great, talk about those next steps. Otherwise, that's fine. Me and you're not friends for life, all right? Like that wasn't a great frame, that was off rip too, but like the delivery of like staring in the camera, I've been told to do that. Talk a little louder than you normally would, and maybe slow down a bit too. And they're gonna be like, oh fuck. Like they're gonna feel it. And they're gonna be like, yeah, we're gonna stick with that. And the shorter it is, the easier it is to maintain all the like composure, staring at the camera, not saying that kind of stuff.
I don't know if I could ever stare into the camera like that, bro. Like,
And I mean I usually don't. You can though. Can be a bit much, especially in like B2C, but this is B2B, so these guys can handle it.
yeah,
But I wouldn't recommend staring in the camera unless you're used to that.
anything is possible. Well, cool. So you guys are mainly getting word through word of mouth. Why are we on the call today if you guys are getting like more and more busy here?
Well, we keep seeing these ads posting about generating business or whatever the case may be, but we don't want to dump a lot of money into something that people are going to just feed to everybody else. You get what I'm saying? So what's actually going on is you have these companies that are putting ads out saying that they can generate business or saying that they can pay you per job, or I mean you pay them per job or whatever the case may be, and that's fine. But when everybody's getting the same leads, it's not fine.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, are you guys have a lot of experience with that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, how is that? Like, do you guys get people that already have contracts signed, etc.?
Well, from time to time you do, or you have 5 or 6.
Yes, this question is a really good example of they're talking about their biggest problem right now, And asking a follow-up question like that makes them dig into the pain there of like why it's so bad, why they don't want to, wait around for another month with Angie, then maybe think about this later.
Yeah, they're giving really like short answers to things, and it's kind of hard. Like I was kind of like really just trying to get them to open up because I knew once they get talking, like a lot of these contractors don't stop talking. That's kind of what I was trying to do there.
Is it good to always let your prospect talk and vent, or is it good to stop them at a certain point?
Yeah, so it depends. If they're going into stuff that's useful, let them talk. But if they start talking about bullshit, like they're talking about their fucking girlfriend's dog or like explaining how their business works to you, like excessively, like if it's these are the projects I do, fine. But if it's like, yeah, and I have this guy and that guy and that guy, and I usually do these bathrooms and these ones are cool, and I make a lot of money off those, and I'm the best in the world, then you want to cut them off. Like anytime they're explaining to you, the frame is kind of reversing a bit, like slowly it's going from like this to like, you know?
Mm.
Whereas if they're digging into the pain, and you want to let them keep going.
Yeah.
And another rule I've heard too is anytime they're talking about stuff like this, where like they're having an issue with the leads because they're all shared, you want to stay quiet for 2 seconds after they're done talking, because a lot of the time they'll fill it in and give you more like the subconscious, like emotional stuff that didn't come out at first.
Huh. Yeah, that makes sense.
And a lot of the time, that extra stuff is what drives the sale because that's like they'll be like, yeah, and then I'm getting all these shitty leads, and then you give them 2 seconds, and then they're like, yeah, and it's just so hard because like I keep wasting my time. Boom. Compare that to them not saying they're wasting their time, right? Because now suddenly taking extra time to think about it, a little less on the table.
5 or 6 different people, 5 or 6 different roofing companies going to the same job, about the same issues. So, I mean, you're not getting any new leads. The leads are just being distributed throughout everything, throughout every company in Savannah.
Yeah.
And for example, what if they don't respond much? So, what if they don't talk much? Like you ask an open-ended question and they just give you a straightforward answer, but like only one word answer, let's say.
Yeah, so I've had that. They'll give you one word answer. They're like, you say, okay, what's your biggest problem with your like scaling your sales process, whatever. And they're like, I don't have one. And you're like, okay, so why are we here then? And that
Yeah.
kind of humor will disarm them. They're like, okay, yeah, like I'm not really getting the kind of projects I want. Or you can just be like, okay, so then, I mean, is it leads? Is it lead quality? Is it the type of projects? And then they'll just say, yeah, it's the type of projects. Yeah, it's the lead quality. Yeah, no one wants to respond. Like, they're never going to not have something. A lot of these guys will be like kind of ego focused and they're not going to give you the actual issue. But if you just say, like, okay, well, what could be better? That kind of reframe can also help.
Okay, so just keep digging and asking.
Yeah, and one thing I like to do that you'll see in all my recordings is I get in the numbers, right? Because the numbers they can't really fluff up, right? Like they'll try to lie a little bit. Like they'll say like 12 to 20 and the answer is really 12 or 11. But once you get into those numbers, they're going to start saying, fuck, I'm really only getting 12 leads a month, which is like crazy low. Unless it's like a really big, like, full home remodeling, then fine. Like, but if they're getting 12 leads a month, turn that into one every what, like 3, 4 days, then they're gonna have to accept like, damn, I really need to make a change. And they're gonna start like rationalizing a little bit. They're like, well, it's so hard because of that or that. Then you get into what did they try, right? I tried Facebook ads and it didn't work. Boom, why didn't they work? You can uncover the limiting belief, reframe it, and then turn it into a commitment to change.
Okay.
Yeah, they're pretty much price hunters too, as well. Yeah, I get that with a lot of my guys that have been with Angie and all of them. Yeah, I do everything pretty much totally exclusive, so directly from your social media accounts.
Yeah, I wouldn't do this too much. You can say this early on, but a lot of the time I would save that for the pitch. I would just go into another question.
So there's really no way for me to do that. Like I said, I have one guy in Georgia. That's it right now. Okay, are you guys aware of like your cost per acquisition and all these numbers that you kind of need to know, or like, for example, how much it costs for you guys to get a new customer?
That was a different cost.
I wouldn't say the kind of numbers that you kind of need to know, because if they don't know them, they're going to feel attacked. I would just say, like, I mean, do you guys have an idea of your cost per acquisition? If you don't have the exact number, that's fine, but like, just like a ballpark at least. And they'll give you a bullshit number, turn it into like, what did they spend what kind of leads did they get. Like I prefer to ask like how many projects did you have, how many leads did you have, figure out the conversion rates, figure out last month, the month before, revenue, find where the margins don't work out, like where they don't make sense. And then from there, it's like, okay, so you're really making like 5K profit a month. Yes. And suddenly it starts becoming like, what do they need to do to change it?
Yeah, because you guys are pretty much word of mouth, so you don't really have like a money like you like for me, for example, for my business, I spend like $700.
I shouldn't have said any of this.
Yeah. Also, like, if you knew they were word of mouth, why would you ask the cost per acquisition too? Like, we know with Angie it's pretty bad. You can say it, but like, I would have skipped on this part too, like saying all that.
You guys don't have anything like that yet.
What do you mean 700? What are you saying?
Well, I'm just asking if you guys know how much it costs for you to get a new customer.
It costs me anything if they call me and I go to their house and sell them a job.
Right. Okay, well, how many jobs are you guys doing a month right now?
That's a good question.
Well, right now we got 4 of them this week. So, I mean, it's periodically. I mean, it's getting them on schedule at the moment.
Yeah, totally. Okay, and I'll like currently month-to-month revenue, that's looking like what?
Probably 50K.
Okay. So a year we can safely assume it's above, 600, 500. Awesome. Cool. And then so like coming into 2024.
So pause real quick.
I guess now.
Like after I said how many jobs you guys doing on a month-to-month basis, they said for this week. So they want me to be like, okay, so you're doing 16. Like I should have been like, okay, so you're doing 16 jobs a month. And then they're like, yeah. And I'll be like, okay, what about last month? And then they're like, oh, we did like 5 or like 3. And then like that's what I should have done, knowing what I know now. And then just kind of digging more into that instead of just like asking the question and literally just moving on to the next question and then the next question right away. Like that is only being like surface level, and it's good. Like we're watching this call specifically because like this client to me is worth like $17,000 over their lifetime, and I didn't even do a perfect sales process on them, and so it's like it doesn't always matter. But the thing is that like I didn't go into depth in these questions at all. I should have.
Yeah, and like sales is very great. Like you can mess up a lot or do a lot of things most people wouldn't do and still be really successful, right? It's all about finding what works for you. That being said, like a lot of the standards usually are standard for a reason. And when they said 4 this week, I'm like, okay, wait, is that like the normal number? Like, are you doing 16 this month? And if they said yes, which they probably wouldn't, I'd be like, okay, 16 full roof replacements? You're doing that in a month? And there's no way they're saying they're actually doing that. Like, because I mean, it's just not possible. Like, they have 2 people. Like, they just can't do that many. So
Yeah,
either
that's like-
one, they're smaller jobs, or 2, they lied about the number. And then they're going to be like, well, we actually just got 4 this week that were booked, but it's spread over like the next 2 months. And it's like, okay, but just to be clear, like this past month, how many jobs did you actually do? Okay, and the month before that, usually the last 3 months is fine.
Bro, I just did the math, and if they actually did 16 jobs a month, they'd be doing like $4 million a year in revenue.
Yeah, and they're definitely not doing that.
Nope.
2025. What are you guys looking to be at, right? Because obviously winter slows down. The election season kind of sucks, but what are you guys looking to be at?
I would avoid saying winter slows it down. Like it shows that you know what you're talking about, but at the same time, it gives them an excuse and they can think, yeah, I'll just be fine in the summer. I don't need this.
Coming into 2025 here.
That's kind of like I want to be as big as I can be. You know what I mean? Yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah, you guys take on all that?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, we can. Yeah.
Awesome. So you have really no limitation as far as that. So you can just take on this that comes towards you.
That's right.
That's right.
Okay, good to know. I understand. So, all right, cool. So, how many leads a month are you guys getting? I'm just trying to get a better understanding about you guys really quickly. So far, I like what I hear. You guys are making enough. You guys are doing
I would have just ended it at how many leads a month.
the right things. You guys are crushing it. It seems like.
Don't say you guys are crushing it, because a lot of the time, if you say that, they're going to start thinking, yeah, I'm crushing it. I'm doing so good. I don't think I need any more.
How many leads a month are you guys usually getting? Just organically, right?
Well, it's kind of tricky because we work for 4 or 5 rental companies. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
We got real estate agents to work for. They sell something, they buy something, and that just keeps us busy.
Contractors.
Yeah, I mean, what you need to understand is I used to own half of Roof Rafters, and then I've been in business with PM Roofing for 6 years now. And then me and Brian's opened this other company up just so we can distribute, what's happening. And my son's also got a company, so we're kind of like 3 companies into one. You know what I mean? So we're just
It's like a hub. I guess
we got like sister companies. You know what I'm saying? Somebody needs 3 beds, we got 3 different roofing companies.
Brandon,
So
pause it.
that's
What would you ask here now? Now that you know that they have like multiple companies under their same wing.
I would kill them, dude. If they said they got 3 companies, I'd be like, okay, wait. So first of all, those 4 projects in a week, is that across one company, across all 3? But like an even more powerful one is like, okay, wait, 3 companies, I don't understand. Like, are you guys all working together? Then they get a little more context, and it's like, okay, wait. So if you get 12 roofs in a month, it's actually 4 per company. So how do those numbers actually look like in terms of you guys' revenue? And like, are you sharing all those leads? Because if they're sharing all the leads with 2 other companies, like even if it is family, still, they're sharing projects. Like they're right now, the numbers they're saying could be complete bullshit because they're saying they got all these sister companies, and they're probably not sharing projects completely because they wouldn't have individual LLCs if they were all like working together, right? So right now, every number that they give us, until we know more, assume that it's kind of like inflated.
basically what we're doing.
Okay, so I'm a little confused then. Like, I guess if you got multiple sister companies, then like, I mean, are you guys distributing the leads to all of you guys, or
Exactly.
how does that
There you
work?
go.
Well, one's my son, one's my brother. So it's pretty. It's just us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
See,
Okay.
we have remodeling as well. So we do remodeling. We also do roofing, and all of the companies are kind of merged together.
Hmm.
So we handle a bunch of different things, but we handle most of the roofing, and then we have another remodeling thing, and then it's a revolving little system that we have.
Yeah.
And by the way, they still haven't said how many leads they get a month.
I totally get you. Okay, that makes sense. All right. So how long ago were you guys with Angie? And how long were you with them for?
Yeah, so that's a decent question, but
I missed
I would
out
just
so
say,
much,
like,
bro.
look, I mean, I understand you have 3 companies, right? That structure is a little confusing, I'm sure, but just to be clear, how many leads are you guys getting a month? Because if you call them out on missing, like answering the question, they're gonna be like, fuck, like this guy's serious. Like the frame is gonna go even more in your favor because it's like this guy is actually keeping us accountable. And then at the end of the call, if you challenge them a little bit, it's not like who the fuck is this guy challenging us? It's like the you from before is the same you at the end. Whereas if you don't call them out on that, and at the end of the call you call them out like, I thought we were talking about like all that, whatever the fuck that handles the objection that they just gave you, they're like, what the fuck are you saying? It's the same where you said, Elijah, like you don't want to call them out at the beginning, like, why the fuck are you smoking, right? If you start out with like, why the fuck are you smoking? Then later on you have the authority to call them out like this. But if this is the first time you call them out, especially if it's a little harder of a call out, they're going to be kind of like, whoa.
I was with them for 2 years, I guess.
You were with them for 2 years?
Mhm.
How much did you guys make from them?
Well, the first year wasn't bad. I mean, I got some really nice flat roofs out of the deal. You know what I mean? They sent me people that, and then when they merged, I was with Home Advisory and Indy before they merged. And then I'll just start getting the same leads, this, that, and the other. I'm spending $3,000 a month, and I'm not getting anything. Those leads, people don't call me back, and I just cancel. So that's what happened.
Yeah, it's bad. It's hard. Put so much in something and just get nothing. Okay, well, I see you guys are doing good. It seems like you guys put a decent amount of thought into this. I guess my question is that like, because we could have been talking like 3 months ago when the hurricane wasn't coming, we could have been talking like 3 months from now. Like, why now specifically? I know you saw my ad, but like, you guys wouldn't be here if you didn't need more, correct?
This is the thing. This is a new company me and him open, and he wants to see what he can get. I mean, I think it's all. I tell him all the time, don't do that. It ain't. Because they always fail. No matter what we do, they fail. So he took upon himself to find something that don't fail. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you're sitting in Michigan getting me leads in my hometown. That
He's also not answering the question once again.
you know what I mean? So I feel that way about it. But I'm not a computerized guy. I'm forced to bug. You have to write my stuff up on paper. He's going to try to be computerized. So he's trying to get me into the.
I'm trying to update him.
Yeah, he's trying to update me like you do your phone. I'm setting my ways. I've been doing this for 4 years.
Listen, this is basically it in a nutshell. Okay, when I started roofing with his brother. I started at 15 years old. They've been in business long before I came into the picture. You know what I'm saying? So everything that he has going on, he's going on word of mouth, on the history of their business and what they produce to people. Okay, I know that today's generation is all about being on the internet, helping get leads, being advertised, being this, being that, and that's just the way things are. You know what I'm saying? So, and we have a 14-year-old that's all in the computers and and I mean, you're just seeing how much work these other individuals, these new companies are generating, and we're trying to figure out how they're generating all this extra. They're like people that we've never even heard of in Savannah that are roofing are doing crazy numbers.
And it's before
the hurricane. So this actually started when we opened SEC. We actually opened SEC.
And they're selling themselves really hard here. So the worst thing you could do right now would be interrupt them. Like I would give them an extra couple seconds at the end because like they're just gonna keep saying like why they need online leads.
prior to the hurricane. It just happened to fall all in line with each other. And so this is something that I've been searching, and I didn't really realize that I was going to put ourselves in a situation where we was going to have a Zoom meeting today. It was going to happen that quick, but it did. And so now we're going to take the opportunity to see what we can get out of it.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, you guys definitely came to the right place. My guys, on average, in the first 45 days, has $50,000.
I wouldn't have said that.
I know it's also kind of a low number.
A lot of you stuff. Your company. I appreciate all the contacts. I just want to preface though that I'm not a roofing professional. Like you said, like you guys said, your bread and butter is word of mouth. Your bread and butter is getting those roofs on job. I don't know the best shingles. I don't know the best materials. I don't know how to place them. I don't know how to cut corners. But what I do know is how to market for these companies.
That's why we're calling you.
That's why.
Because we don't know it.
Here's the pitch, right? I'm guessing right here.
Yeah, that was my transition to the pitch, which is also bad, but sorry. I should have done what you taught.
I would just gone like, you want to see if we can help. Like, I would end more on like, what happens, by the way, if you don't end up doing this? Like, what happens if you don't take these online leads? You kind of stick with what you got. A couple of months from now, hurricane ends. And what happens? Yeah. And they're like, well, this, our problems on why our leads are drying up, we're probably fucked. And you say, okay, you want to hear how we're going to make sure that doesn't happen?
That's so good, dude. Yeah, honestly, like all you need to know for pre-pitch is like cost of inaction. Like I feel like that's the only thing that you need in that section. That's all you need to push on.
Scaling to 10K a month and fulfillment. Now, first things first, I want to say congrats for making it this far in this video. I know this is just about client acquisition, but you really should feel proud of yourself because I can tell you from firsthand experience by literally looking at my YouTube metrics that 99% of people will not have gotten this far in this video. So I genuinely mean that. Now, I want you to understand that scaling up to 10K a month and mastering client acquisition in its entirety, obviously it doesn't matter what you sell as long as you want high ticket clients, is all about booking appointments and closing appointments, right? If you can manage to take 30 to 50 sales calls with the same offer, the same niche, solid offer and improve one thing each time, I guarantee that you will have multiple high ticket, multiple high paying clients. And for a little motivation, here's a screenshot of my first ever 10K month, which was August of 3 years ago, as well as my first ever 10K week, which was October 3 years ago. So that is some motivation for you to get the hay going on the fancy, classic Stripe screenshots. And fulfillment wise, if you want to understand how I actually provide results to my clients, I have an entire 2-hour video free course on fulfillment from start to finish. It's literally 2 hours long and goes into extreme depth of how to fulfill for clients. Only 2.2 thousand people have ever watched this video, so it's extremely small and valuable. And in addition to that, as I've mentioned a couple times throughout this video, I literally have a 10-hour course video that explains everything from start to finish, literally client acquisition, mindset, sales, fulfillment, client success, retention, like everything of scaling this business up. And if you want a ton of value, ridiculous amounts of value, I don't think anyone else in this entire space, maybe other than one or two other people, have done this. So if you want to see that video, which by the way, there's already been like 10,000 or so people that have seen this video, gotten a ton of value from it, 500 likes. If you want, to take advantage of that while it's here, then go ahead, watch it. That's for you. Now, if you want to get to 10K a month faster, you can get personal one-on-one help from me. I'm just going to quickly plug this because I think this is what I deserve for posting another valuable 2 hour, 3 hour long video or whatever this is. Probably just 2. So yeah, if you want to get there faster, work directly with me, like literally me and you on a call once a week, you can always apply. By the way, you can continue to brute force it. Like there's no reason why you can't get the result on your own, but sometimes it helps to have someone to show you the way. And that's what I had. And obviously there's no pressure, but I definitely, made the most progress when I had someone directly helping me. So zero pressure. We do have lots of people coming in with crazy wins. It's a smaller group, because it's more one-on-one help, but we have new people coming in every day. We have people taking on crazy wins, booking tons of calls, closing clients, and ultimately just changing themselves and, just crazy calendars. Like, yeah, all the good stuff. We're building up that community. So yeah, by the way, just as you know, it's so much faster because you can literally just like skip all of the tons of mistakes that I've made myself. Like I've made years of mistakes and you can skip all of them and learn from them. I mean, I literally it took me like 5 months or 3 or 4 months or whatever to get HTTP verified when I started. I get clients of mine HTTP verified on the onboarding call from the the one-on-one help. So anyways, you could check out. I don't know if it's going to be the first link below this video or the second link below this video, or you can just click on right here. You can click on this link and apply. Yeah, the final thing I'll leave you on here is that, again, if you found this video valuable in any way, shape, or form, just share it with a friend. Okay, I want this to reach as many people as possible because I know how much videos like this would have helped, and I make tons of videos like this on my channel. So stay tuned. And once again, that's the link to work with me one-on-one, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and best of luck.